Going live once it's done loading. Blessed love, welcome to the 5th of the series of webinars by the African Rastafari New Faculty of Overstanding. I am Honorable Prophet Daniel. Our topic today is Rastafari Economic Development, Opportunities, Access, and Networks. We give thanks that you all are present with us at this time to discuss these most pressing issues as we trot into the 21st century. At this time, I would like to welcome Honorable Priest Douggie to give us a prayer and open the program. Rastafari.
Greetings all. Blessings, heart of love to everyone. Yeah, on this glorious day, it's good to be alive. And I ask the Father and the Divine Mother to bless us with their energy. Fill I and I with the word sounds I and I need to express I and I thoughts and ideas. To give I and I wise mind, understanding, and knowledge that we may fulfill their will, placing the food within the children's reach. This we ask in their divine name, most mighty and most righteous, IJahStars the first and Empress Ima Ethiopia. Rastafari, give thanks.
Rastafari. Give thanks, Honorable Priest Douggie. And at this time, we'd like to just give a few guidelines. If everyone would please keep your microphones muted while the panelists are presenting. And that you can send questions through the chat in the Zoom meeting. Your questions will be answered in chronological order as they come in. We will open up the floor for question and answers after all panelists have presented, and you can ask questions directly to the panelists once at that time. And we give thanks for your participation and your presence. And at this time, I would like to open the floor for Honorable Ras Daddy Bosco for the opening remarks.
Greetings and give thanks for life. And it's indeed an honor to participate in this program, talking about the economics of Rastafari. Indeed, people talk about the need for Rastafari to assert itself economically. Currently here in Ghana, there's a national conversation regarding admitting some students with locks to senior high school. And one thing someone asked is, why is it that Rastafari has not built its own schools and health facilities? The answer is simple. It boils down to the economics of our liberty and whether as a people we can be able to get our economics together. If you look at the composition of Rastafari, you realize that it's diverse. You have people of all skill level and economic ability. And personally, I'm looking forward to listening, fashioning out something that will hold us up economically. Here in Ghana, we've started the Black Star Line Cooperative Credit.
Daddy Bosco. Daddy Bosco. Daniel, did we lose him?
My lord.
Did we lose Daddy Bosco?
He's still in the meeting, but he's I guess he's having.
Yes, my line dropped. My line dropped. I'm back.
Okay, good thing.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I was just about wrapping up and saying that I'm looking forward to the presentations, and I hope that at the end of the day, we can be able to move toward a position where we can completely harness our economic potential as a nation. Give thanks.
Yes, Daddy Bosco, I agree. You know, like Daddy Bosco say, you know, we lack a lot of infrastructure as a movement, you know, a cultural movement. How have other people been able to pass on their culture, to develop their culture by providing the family with the tools? You know, like you said, Daddy Bosco, we need our own schools. We need a lot of things, and that's what we are here today to discuss and unpack. I will go right into the opening speech here before I introduce the first presenter. This evening, we are here to discuss Rastafari economic development, opportunities, access, and networking. In the early days of the movement, it was a normal thing to sit on the gully banks, hillsides, and encampments and smoke holy herbs, giving thanks and praises for another day of survival and for Rastafari guiding I through the gins and snares of wicked, dirty Babylon. Living simple, utilizing what nature provided, the cultural handcrafted works of I, and the little funds it generated could suffice I then, or the menial labor that was available to I as outcasts living on the fringes of society. But nothing stays the same. In the natural evolution of life, the need for a steady income, stability, and consistency became a priority of survival. The embracing of the sackcloth mentality was no longer necessary or pertinent. Where in the early days, Rastafari took a vow of poverty to be independent and free of society's trappings during the colonial era. Today, in a neo-colonial world, with the changing trend, a skill or craft is needed to survive. Burning Babylon's vanity is a way of life for I. People of spiritual consciousness. But being people of intuition and practicality, there are certain necessities and comforts of life that are needed to assure health and well-being. These require achieving a vanity of Babylon called money. To gain riches in this material world, a person has to sell their souls to corruption. So to avoid the temptation of Babylon, and I follow the balanced path of salvation, which is based on ethics, seeking only what is needed to take care of our families and to give a tenth part of I earned income to our community development and maintenance, while retaining what is needed to aid the widows and orphans, simply fulfilling our creed. To accomplish this feat in the 21st century, I have to become better crafted by seeking to gain higher education or learning a trade or becoming innovative master arts and craft producers, and thus making I self-employable. The third and fourth generation of Rastafari had to become resourceful or suffer in a changing world. And I have to turn Wihan and make fashion, as the mother of Jamaican folklore, the late Louise Bennett, put it. Necessity has always been the mother of most great inventions. And so I must retool in order to survive. Many have chosen entertainment, the art of shock and jiving, for their means of survival, such as the reggae singers and musicians. All in all, our economic situation as we ended the 20th century and entering into the 21st century had to change, and fast, or the little woman at home was going to get fed up and head for greener pastures, or so she thought. The worst feeling for any parent, especially a Rastafari, is having your child or children hungry and looking to you for their meals, and I being unable to provide that essential necessity. So as the family grew, so did the demand and responsibility. And I had to get serious with the farming of food and the good weed of wisdom, and started smuggling it to wherever there was a market. Working outside the law is a way of the modern world, and was the only avenue open to many of I in the Caribbean societies, as well as the only way to be able to sustain a family by getting involved in the illicit world and the so-called black market. Today, poverty is still the dominant enemy of thriving people. And the only way to alleviate the pangs of poverty is through education and smart work. Ganja is now trending in today's world. Medical cannabis is becoming an accepted norm within the medical society's treatment regimen. Ganja is projected to become a $20 billion industry in the next few years. A product Rastafari has been prosecuted and persecuted for, and now it is deemed lucrative. I are being left on the sidelines with only thanks for paving the way. The society benefits from I having accepted the sackcloth mentality. They can profit from I ingenuity and sacrifices without sharing the benefits, while blaming their injustice on the fact that Rastafari not deal with Caesar. That must end, and I intellectual property rights must be honored freely or by force of law. In this 21st century, Rastafari is at a crossroads, and a new faculty of overstanding, a new way of looking at things, a new methodology of survival must be determined, creating members of a new race of African thinkers. This is what the Honorable Prophet Marcus Garvey envisioned and laid out in his philosophy and opinions. It is what Haile Selassie I constructed as a template for futuristic development. This nationalistic ideology of common unity or shared interest is what leaders like Bongo Watto and the Youth Black Faith movement and King Emmanuel and the EABIC taught their flock: independence and self-sufficiency through creativity, collaboration, and collective security, which is the building blocks of nationhood. Rastafari must learn to use the tools available to I and I in the 21st century, such as social media, to create a revenue stream. I and I must network and manage our resources smartly, collectively working to build an economic engine to help overcome the dependency syndrome, which hampers progressive development and many times embarrasses I and I as proud militant Africans. While I and I have been some of the hardest working people in the past, presently and going forward, I and I need to work wisely to achieve the same success as other peoples, or remain in the same predicament as the previous generation post-slavery, trapped in peonage. This afternoon, I would like to take a review of the economic approach of the past and present, and also take a peep into the future, so as to be able to draft a blueprint forward to progressive development. I give thanks. We will unpack and reason about what works and what doesn't work, share ideas on new approaches, innovative, crafty ways of trying to achieve what we need. Now, without ado, I would now like to introduce our first presenter, Empress Ima, a world traveler, a sister that's been traveling to the continent for many, many years, a businesswoman who have run successful businesses for years from Africa House on down, a very innovative and crafty queen, and as a matter of fact, queen mother of this time, sits in the seat of one of our elders, So I give thanks, and it is my privilege to now introduce Empress Ima. The mic is yours.
Greetings. Can you hear me?
Yes, I.
Okay, greetings. Greetings, Priest Douggie. Greetings in the name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I, and Empress Waziri Menen I, perfect balance. Giving thanks for life and the new day. Give thanks, Priest Douggie, for that introduction, and I'm honored to be the first one to speak at this great day. We're talking about economics. Well, I can say that I started a little history of myself so people will know, who I am. And greetings to my children all over the world, Africa's children. Yes, so my first, let's say that what changed my life first was 1975, was my first trip to Ghana. And in Ghana, I really saw what business was and what it was like. So, I was enthused. As a child, I remember an uncle that had a shop and he used to let me sell, and I always liked the buying and the selling. It always interested me. So my first official business was was 1976. I was a co-owner of a family business. The first business was Boutique Africa. And soon after that came the Africa House, which was a Harlem business. And we had several businesses in Harlem, African Marketplace, the Buy Black Food Center. We've had Liberation in Florida. So we've had several businesses. And my son still has Africa House in South Carolina. So we're a business family. So business is the topic of today. Where we've been, the opportunities that exist, the access, the networks, and most importantly, somebody wrote the mindset. Our mindset needs to change. I give us credit, high credit. I'd actually give us 3 PhDs in reasoning. But in actually doing, we haven't quite matriculated yet. And for those that don't know what matriculated means, it means we haven't gotten out of high school. We have no toothpick factories, no toilet tissue factories to pass on to our children, no schools, as you see, Betty Bosco brought up that in Ghana now, some of our young brothers are facing problems just simply because of their hair. But by now, yes, we should have our own schools, our own universities, our own institutions for the elderly. Because yes, I am an elder. My first business I had was 1976. So if you add and subtract, it's over 40 some years I've been in business. And business has me where I am right now today. I am in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I came to St. Vincent and the Grenadines on a business trip a little over a year.
Empress.
Yeah, the Empress freeze. Technical difficulties. You know, this Zoom platform is not, you know, a perfect science. So from time to time, we have these technical difficulties. You know, but this is a very important reasoning. You know, I know that my people love the hype and love the celebrities and, you know, love the colorfulness of life. You know, but that is why we are in the position and condition we are in right now. We need to buckle down and have serious conversations about our situation openly and, you know, clearly, defining without shame and pride, you know, what is what works, what don't work. Things that we held close to us. With more information today, we find out that those things no longer have any purpose or use. So we need to let go of those and retool and recreate, you know, what we need, what works. You know, this is the 21st century. We have no control over how the world, you know, functions because we are not world leaders. We are just part of the cog. You understand? Yes, we have power, but we have not learned how to use the power that we have. The power of numbers. See, we spend more, the $1 being poor, we spend $1 every day. And those spending, that pattern of spending is what keep these businesses open. The rich man might come out and shop once a week, once a month, once every so often. That cannot keep businesses flowing. It is I and I who put the how many $1 trillion annually into the coffers of Babylon. So we have power, but we don't know how to harness that power. You know, that is what we need to be discussing. How do we create the economics that can build a school, build a clinic, build a care facility for our elders, you know, that we can afford to pay some of the bright minds that we have among us to service those facilities and not, sorry, and not give their skills away to Babylon just for some dead presidents. We need to be able to afford to compensate our bright minds, to service our communities. And until we are able and willing to fund our own revolution, we will always be at the mercy of others. So it's time for I and I to rise up. Like Peter Tosh said, get up, stand up on your foot. Stand up for your rights, defend your rights, and create for yourself what you need and stop looking outside of yourself for what you need. Stop looking to the ones that create the problem to solve it. You know, that is a form of Stockholm syndrome. We're starting to identify with our captors. We're starting to want to be like our captors. We're starting to want to drive the cars that they drive, living the kind of houses that they live, function the way that they do. You know, we send our children already to their schools to be taught by them. When are we gonna rise up, wake up, and realize that a bear can't teach a lion how to be a lion? Can't teach a lion cub how to be a lion. I and I have to have lions teaching I and I cubs how to be adults. You know, so as we pursue the conversation this evening, those are some of the meditation I would like ones and ones to have, and think about how we can change the paradigm, the stigma, the dilemma that we find ourselves in, where we in the 21st century are still on the streets demonstrating, shouting Black Lives Matter. So we have to rise up, my people. We have to become conscious. It is all good to enjoy fun and games, but we are not the privileged ones. We are not in the position to be laid back, and to become complacent. We have become too accustomed to mediocrity. We need to rise to the highest excellence of ourselves, as I Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I and Mama Amiga has taught I and I. Haile Selassie set high standards for Ethiopia and for the continent of Africa. That's why he created the OAU. He was able to harness all those blocks, the Casablanca, the Monrovia, the Brazzaville, bring those blocks together, unite them to create the OAU when people said that it was impossible at that time. But through Jah, through the will and power of the Almighty, nothing is impossible. We just have to apply ourselves to try Jah work to do. And when we do it, we see the fulfillment of our works. It took a lot to get I and I to this space. Through slavery, colonization, Reconstruction and all those, Jim Crow and all those things coming right up to the civil rights struggle. It has taken a lot of sacrifice, blood, sweat, and tears to get I and I to this point. Now I and I find that we are the most educated of the generations that have existed since slavery. It is I and I duty now to utilize the privilege that we have gained, to build our nation, to reconstruct what needs to be reconstructed, and to create what needs to be created. That was the work of Marcus Mosiah Garvey. That was the will and mandate of Haile Selassie I and Mama Omega. That was a sacrifice of Nkrumah, you understand? Thomas Sankara, Patrice Lumumba, Nelson Mandela, Mama Winnie Mandela. They all sacrificed the comforts of life, for the struggle to make sure that they left I and I in a position of success and victory. So we need to honor them by fulfilling the works, finishing what they started, or at least handing off the baton to the next generation in a better space than we received it. I guess Empress Ima is having some technical difficulties chiming back in. Well, as I hope that she will, get back on at some point, but we can't delay. We have to just push ahead.
My Lord, if you would like to, you can introduce Honorable Prophet Jeff, IJahStars. He's the next.
Yes, my Lord. As Prophet Daniel just said, our next presenter is Ras Ijastar from out of the UK. A youth in himself who runs a social media site, who is very active and very interested in assisting the development of the Black nation. He has, his contribution to this discourse. So let I and I now turn the mic over to Ras Ijastar and hear what my virgin have to say. Ras Ijastar, your time, my brother. Your mic unmuted, not hearing you.
Blessed love.
Honor and majesty.
Honorable family, do give thanks. It's a great honor to be here. I just look on my WhatsApp a while ago and see Daniel sending me a message saying it's my time. It seems like I've been lagging behind time. Pardon my manners, everyone. I want to greet the item officially in the divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, Empress Menen I. I'm on His Honorable IJahStar, member of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. And I'm a social media influencer, if I can put it like that. And it's great to be a part of the panel here today. Do give thanks. I thought I was coming in for a minute and sitting and listening for a moment, but it seemed like I'm right on the spot. So a bit nervous, my people. So it's the first time I'm really doing something like this. So pardon if I kind of sound away, but
You sound good, my lad. Yeah, man, you sound good, man. Big up yourself and just go through, man. Beautiful, man, and you're looking colorful and great right now. I want to hear what I have to say. So,
Rastafari. Yes, my brothers and sisters, do give thanks for their presence. So all right, I could go in it. Rastafari in the 21st century, and we're looking at Rastafari economics and development. I must ask, where is our economics and where is it that we're looking to develop at present as Rastafari people? When we look at economics, we have to talk about finance, investment, resources, revenue, assets. Those are the things that we have to look. We have to bear in mind that these are things that we're going to need to move forward in developing ourselves economically and structurally. See, so now we're going to how we're going to go and achieve these 5 things. Assets, investments, resource, finance, revenue. How we're going to attain those things. First, I think that our mindset need to overhaul. It need to either what's the word? It needs to evolve again. I think our mindset as a people need to evolve, change where we can trust each other as a people, we can be accountable, we can be proactive, because at present we see a lot of laziness is happening. You know, we need to change that fundamental attitude that we have towards ourselves. Collective creativity is lacking. We're not working together as a family. Zine, we're not working together as a family. So our creative, we are creative as a people, yes, but on a collective level, you know, we're not working together. So we can't see that tangible change that we really want to see, right? When we look back in the days, back in America, at some point, they had the Black Wall Street, which was a collective effort to becoming financially independent, but was impeded in a host of ways. Over the years, you know, African people, Rastafari people, you know, we have tried. It's not that we haven't tried. We have tried to, you know, to change our circumstances over the years, but you know, a lot of obstacles has derailed our progress. See, so on an independent level, you know, just check, you know, within the African community, the Afro-Caribbean community, and the Afro-American community. We have one basic thing that we share asset, which is called partner. I don't know how much of us know about partner. That you know, it's very it's, you know, something that most Caribbean people would be aware of and accustomed to. That's how we share assets. That's one of the basic way that we share our assets amongst ourselves. But even at that basic level, we still run into a lot of pitfalls. You know, sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it's not properly organized, you know, and this is at a very basic level. So that is showing us that we need to be more organized as a people. See that, you know, we can progress, we can go forward. Now, one of the things that I see that we could really go forward in seeing is one of the things that the Rastafari community and us as a people have been persecuted for over many of years, and it is marijuana, ganja. See, that is one of the product that I feel that could generate a lot of income in terms of, you know, financing ourselves independently. When you look in America, there are places where it is legal, some places it's decriminalized, and people are making loads of money from this product. See? And Rastas have been persecuted for many years for this. So why shouldn't we now act upon marketing our own CBD oils, our own dispensers on a franchise level, wherever we might find ourselves, in the Caribbean, in America, in Europe, in Africa, wherever we must be able to tap into that market, because out of everybody, we have been the one that pay the most the price for marijuana. Mike Tyson, for instance, we know Mike Tyson as a world champion boxer. Now, Mike Tyson is not a Rasta, but Mike Tyson is making $1 million US every month from selling herbs and the product that comes along with selling marijuana. See? So how much we as Rastafari people who we know how to grow this thing. We know how to package it and put it out there. Why we're not tapping into this side of the market? Why we're not doing that? So I feel like that is something that we can tap into as Rastafari people, and not just as Rastafari people, but as African people. We can tap into that and see how best we can raise our economical standard. Because that is one of the most imperative thing that plague African people at present. We have no economical power. See, so we need to strengthen ourselves. We need to tackle all these avenues, exhaust all these avenues that we can generate income from. And we shouldn't be afraid or scared or ashamed, to be approaching these avenues. So marijuana make a lot of money every year worldwide. Some of the people who make money from marijuana today, see, some of them don't even smoke, or them never regard marijuana to be something that they could make money from, but now they are making a lot of money from it. So we have to be involved as Rastafari people, because we can't, it's like we are waiting for somebody to come and do this for us when we can do it for ourselves. See, we need more businessman and businesswoman. Marcus Garvey asks, where is the man and woman of big affairs? Where we there? You know what I mean? Which power there right now? We have to show ourselves. We have to show ourselves and be accountable to the call. Where is the man and woman of big affairs? Surely we are out there. We are out there, and we just need to be more proactive. Zine, what we waiting on? Someone to do this for us? It not make no sense to wait on someone to do this for us. Can we do it? Yes, we can. As Marcus Garvey would ask, if we can do it, we're sure we can do it. We know we can do it. I mean? We've been through so much things over the years that, we are still here regardless. And some of us, we are making some small move individually. But if we bring all these moves collectively, then we will get somewhere. How do we require? So all right, when we look on development now, Zin, we have to look at land, because land is something that is essential to our development as a people. The next thing is tools, equipment, machinery, and skilled people, so that we can start to put in infrastructure in place. Now, as I said, land is important. We cannot develop without land, unless we're talking we developing our physical self, within our mind and our intelligence and intellect and education, and that level is a different thing. But when it comes to development now, we really are focused on right across the board. So we're going to need land, and we're going to need equipment, we're going to need tools, we're going to need the people that are skilled to put infrastructure in place. So we can move forward. We can be what is the word, recognizable, or we can be seen, doing something. Opportunities. Zine, opportunity. We the people have to create our own opportunity because we live in a system now that doesn't care about us basically, and we can see that, wherever we find ourselves as a people right now, the system doesn't create any opportunity for us. It is us that have to create our own opportunity. See? Because opportunity might come your way. See? And the opportunity that comes, it comes with so many clauses. See? That it probably not going to be aligned within your lifestyle, your liberty, your principles. So we have to create our own opportunity. Zine, I think that is the way forward, other than looking outside for outside help. Of course, we have to work with outsiders. Yes, we're not saying that we shouldn't do that, but we have to look to opportunity from ourselves. So we have to work with ourselves. We have to start valuing ourselves because we undervalue ourselves. That's why we're not having much progress as a people, because we look down on ourselves. We don't see that we are great and we can work with that great brother over there, or we can work with that great sister over there. We look to always outsiders, that we want to work for the BBC, or we want to work for NBC, or one of these major company. We have to look to start working with ourselves, creating our own opportunity. Just like how Marcus Garvey had a printing press where he put out his own newspaper. But that wasn't just Marcus Garvey alone running that printing press. I'm sure we had probably about 4 or 5 other people within all in different offices within that entity, within the UNIA scene. So we have to look to start working with ourselves, that we can create more opportunity for ourselves. Zin, and people, others will come in. We have to be self-sufficient. Zin, that is important, and we have to be self-reliant. Zin, that is the most important thing right now. Self-reliance. We can't always want to look to working for someone else, and we're not getting, when we talk about opportunity, we're working for someone, and within this company or sector, we've been there for how much years, but there haven't been any development in you progressing in that company to a higher level within the company. Where you started is where you are for 15, 20 years, and you have to wonder, wow, one, oh, we can't get no promotion. You know what I mean? So we have to start looking to promoting ourselves, because once we're self-sufficient, we will be self-reliant, right? Access and network. Now, access and network. Access, this webinar itself is a perfect example, Zine, where the masses have access to information that they could possibly tap in, and it could possibly change, them life. Zine, based on all the panelists that is here today. Zine, this webinar is a perfect example for access. Zine, network. We're networking right now. Zine, we're networking right now because 20 years ago, 25 years ago, we probably would have to send in texts, or we probably would have to write letters and so on. But the technology has improved, Zine, so we can network even in a more closer and better way. You know what I mean? Because I'm here in London and the item they all are right around the world right now. So networking, social media is one of the as we know, one of the better platform right now to do any form of networking and marketing and so on. You know what I mean? So we have to just use the technology that is here right now for us to network, and we can have more reasoning and webinars and sessions like this. So, ones out there who probably not present right now, but later down could see this and find something that could possibly change their life. So we have to be extra Lance, as Marcus Garvey emphasized, that we have to be extra Lance in science and technology. So the technology is here. We have to utilize it to our best of our ability and see how far we go. My Lord and Empress, blessed love and give thanks.
Yes, Ras Ijastar, solid sound I am. Solid judgment sound, Yeah, man.
Rastafari.
Yeah, I identify the fact that I need to re-establish trust amongst ourselves. Because through Willie and him lynchism, it destroyed the trust factor that I as a people had amongst ourselves when we resided as Africans on the continent.
True.
I also identify that the ganja, cannabis, hemp industry is an industry, is a product that I struggle for, suffer for, was prosecuted and persecuted for, So it is right that I make some funds out of it now that it is politically correct and trending. Seeing, I myself is involved in it, on many levels, both here in the US and in Jamaica. And I encourage, and I have been trying to encourage my brothers and sisters to let us organize into a collective and approach it from a solid, structured way that I can carve out piece of the profits for I self. And not just the profits, because it is a medicine, it is the healing of the nation. And I people suffering from so many diseases, seeing so many mental trauma, which the medicines created from ganja can help, So if we look around today, you're identifying more functional mental ones than ever. Yes, they dress, they bathe them clean and everything, but if you watch their demeanor, their mood, their attitude, you can see that they are scarred, they are wounded, and they need healing. Well, cannabis, hemp, ganja is the healing of the nation. It can heal us, like the I say, Ras Ijastar, economically, medically, and it helps to bind us together socially too, because that is how we start this thing, yeah. In the ganja camp, them where we used to sit, and born with herb and reason. Those were our university, our institutions of higher education. That is where most of I, the early Rastafari, got I knowledge. See, that was where I was introduced to many books that now we're having our Trueberry. You understand? So, Brethren, great presentation, man. Solid.
My Lord and Empress, do give thanks. Rastafari.
So, my people, is a time we really look into this thing out, And not just ganja, because majority of the time that is what we have been stigmatized for. We are creative people. We do all kind of arts and craft. We have all kind of skill sets. And a lot of us have all kind of education. We went to college and we did all kind of things and can do all kind of things. Our ingenuity has created what you see today in the modern world. See, it's I. If you look at the black inventors, what the black inventors have created, a lot of what you see out there with other people's name attached to it. When you check back the history of it, where it originated, you find a black man involved the intricacies of it. Seeing the real Mackay, seeing the stoplight. Enough of the technology used in aeroplanes right now have been created by Black people, African people, people of color. Seeing we have done a lot, but we have not been compensated for it. Why? Because we are at the bottom of the food chain. Power only can see to power, you know. So until we create a force to be reckoned with, the power won't even acknowledge that I and I exist. Just like how them trying to say Black people never contribute anything substantive to civilization, when we were the ones that taught them how to be civilized. Civil societies existed 2600 BC on the Nile River bank. You know, so we have the ingenuity in ourselves. We can do this. You know, again, where Ras Ijastar said, we need to build back that trust factor amongst ourselves, where we can collectively come together and pursue an opportunity and achieve from that opportunity and share the profits, you know, fairly, justly amongst ourselves. Not always trying to look to get over, because true, we have been deprived for so long. When we get an opportunity, the self mode, the meism kind of take over, and we're just looking out for ourselves and our clique. No, we have to start to look out for the nation. You understand? No man is an island. We can't stand alone. It's a continent we come from. Seeing, and we have to secure that continent. And every tribe on that continent is important to the continent. Seeing, we want every tribe on that continent to be successful and to have prosperity. So we have to put aside Mr. Willie Lynch, seeing, and bring forward Mr. Trust. Seeing, no, not the trust thing where you're walking in a business place and you always want to trust from I and RPI, you know. We're not talking about that, the trust there. We talk about the love of one another. We love each other so much that we will do anything together, because we know that the love strong and it binds us. And we are a moral people, you know. We function off of ethics. So we're not going to look for get over upon one another, because it gets us nowhere. The chain is only as strong as the weakest link. You understand? So the more we build together is the stronger our nation is. And it's all about the nation. That was what Marcus Mosiah Garvey was about, nation building. That is what Haile Selassie I stood for, lived for, and continue to guide I and I towards. See, that is what the ancient Rastafari elders were constructing with all the hurdles and oppression put in their way. So today, I and I have the tools, as Ras Ijastar say again, with the internet and social media and all these technologies, seeing, I mean, many gadgets and gadgets that I and I can use to uplift ourselves. You know, food is an essential product. And I and I are some great growers. Most Rastaman from them time that, you know, him know how to deal with the earth. Him and the earth have a relationship. So we can grow food, water. Them a bottle water now. Water is a big industry. How come I and I don't have no part in that? How come we not set up some filtration system or some riverhead and a back of some nice spring ice full with some nice mineral in it? You know, we are going to feed them shop and a drink them back of water. We don't even know where it come from, whether them are full it from the pipe or where them are do. Just like how we see them deal with them meat system, where them spray the meat with something for it to look fresh and certain way when them put it out on the shelf and so people can gobble it up. See, we don't know, we don't trust them. So why are we embracing, you know, their services and their products? Why aren't we not producing for ourselves and servicing our own communities? So Rastafari, yeah man, solid sound. Ras Daniel, who else is on who else is on the site at this time?
Empress Ima is forward on the program again.
I would love to hear from her because she has a solid contribution to add to this as a leading empress. Empress Ima, are you able to chime in? Are you still seeing her, Ras Daniel?
Yes, she just needs to unmute.
Greetings.
Yes,
That's-
sir. Yes.
Well,
The
I'm
floor
not
is-
sure where I got cut off because, as the youth say, I was in the zone.
Ad lib, mama. Just go ahead. Ad lib. Do anything, just take it from where you want to take it from. We don't even mind if we hear it again if we heard it before because it's
Well,
solid.
really, I'm going to take it from where that brother talked about the cannabis, because I said I wasn't going to talk about cannabis, but I am. I am a cannabis empress.
Yes, sir.
So now the cannabis, we still are in 1990 with the cannabis. We haven't stepped up. We didn't make any declaration. When they began to make cannabis legal, the Rastafari Nation, we made no declaration. We were supposed to declare that we are the ganja experts. They have been arresting us all this time for being the ganja experts. We were supposed to declare it. We were supposed to declare that it's we who would issue licenses.
Speak truth to
We
power,
were
mama.
supposed to
Speak truth to
declare
power.
it. We were supposed to declare it. We were supposed to issue licenses to our people. How dare them? They're going to give us a license. How? How is that possible? We made no declaration. We waited for crumbs to fall off the table. We still may need to make that declaration. We need to have an international cannabis conference where we have our international experts and our money people there speaking and selling our cannabis products that we make. We need to have the Bobo red and the Nyabingi green and the 12 tribes of Israel yellow. What are we doing? We're sleeping. We're sleeping. We need to change our mindset of waiting for crumbs to fall off some table for us. No crumbs is falling off of no table. Here I am in St. Vincent, the ganja capital of the world. Do you hear me? That ash and that volcano, that was a blessing in disguise. We better wake up. They're asking for that ash all over the world. They want that ash. That ash, we didn't get burned up. I think we've had one death, but we might have more because of hunger. But this is our time to step up. That next crop that comes out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, it needs to be called Volcano Magic, Volcano Blue, Volcano, and we need to get paid. We need to stop sitting back on our hands and being quiet. It's time for a change. It's time for us to step up. Now that's what I have to say about the cannabis.
Fix the
Now, as
camera,
you know,
mama. Fix the camera.
I found myself in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I was down I guess I cut off because Jah wanted the eyes to see what to go on in the yard that I'm in. Now, this yard that I'm in is the yard that is providing for the different Rastafaris in St. Vincent. They are making food and feeding them. They are distributing food from other Rastafari houses across the islands, across the Caribbean, across America. That's just what is going on. I wanted to see the distribution, the food, how we are uniting and working together. Yes, I want the international Rastafari community to see that this is a new day. We are in a new time. We have to stop sleeping. So here I came to St. Vincent about a little over a year ago. I came on a 6-week business trip. The business of CMOS. CMOS was flourishing in America at that time. So I came here, I left America March 10th, a special day for me. It was a Harriet Tubman Day. My daughter was 55 this year on March 10th. So that was a good time to leave, March 10th, 2020. I thought I was coming here for 6 weeks. Well, after being here 4 or 5 days, the planetdemic occurred, the coronavirus. Yes. So I was in the best place I could be. This is Paradise Island, full of Black people, good food, some of the best weed. So I stayed. I wasn't going back to the mass up place for. I wasn't taking that. So I stayed here in St. Vincent. Right. So now St. Vincent experienced the COVID. It hurt. A lot of people was unemployed, and they had to tighten. They closed down the place also at one time. So it was rough for the people. And then they had dengue fever. So now after dengue fever, here comes the hurricane. I mean, the volcano, spewing ash all over the island. The places closest to the volcano, the red and orange zone, it's recommended that we don't build there anymore. So it's time to rebuild. So out of everything that's going on, the unification that I've never seen. I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen an experience like this in my life. It's spiritually fulfilling. So out of this hurricane, out of this volcano, I keep saying hurricane, out of the volcano, I've met with about 24 sisters now, some from Martinique, some from St. Vincent, some from St. Lucia, some from the UK, some from the US, some from Union Island. So we've come together in a group. It's called Trade and Commerce. So we plan, there are several products out of this. Brother, were you able to pull up my PowerPoint at all?
Yes, give me 1 second and I'll share it.
Okay. And then,
It's okay, it's ready.
okay. So what, I scroll up? Oh, I gotta have one of my daughters here help me.
Just
I'm
read
having
it.
a little.
I'll control the presentation.
Oh,
You just read.
oh, good. So the first pictures is actually the first. Not you can start scrolling just as I finish. The first, and I think it's about 19 pictures, is of the rescue and aid that's going on from the Rasta community internationally to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So you could scroll up. God, Daniel.
Keep going.
Yes, keep going. Just give them time to focus on it. It's in Barbados. That was a group barrels that we received from Barbados and Trinidad. There's the next one. Yes, these are items. I'm going to Sisters in St. Lucia. Okay, so this is the first truckload of the boat that came in on Friday from St. Lucia. This is our first truckload of goods being transported. So this was from the Ethiopian World Federation. It was also from ICAR. It was also from the Crow organization. And also the Ethiopian Africa Black International Congress, the Nyabingi, the Theocracy Reign. Those several, I didn't want to leave anyone out, but there were so many, and we give thanks. We're so grateful. Okay, so this is brothers and sisters. Yes, this is some more goods. These are goods from St. Lucia, as you can see as the boat arrived, was in. And we give thanks for, and how I actually got involved in this rescue mission was actually through a brother here in St. Vincent called Obar. He showed me his text, and I noticed it said local Martinique 7 of the EWF. And then I saw it said local, yeah, you can scroll up on the pictures. They can look and read. And I'll talk at the same time because 15 minutes goes past. And so as I saw that His Majesty's organization was involved, you know, His Majesty's organization is the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated that he gave us for the Black people of the world to govern ourselves and to save ourselves from annihilation, being wiped out. So we need to come together and function that organization properly. I'm not going to go into depth on the Federation today, but I would ask you all, especially as Black people, to Google the Ethiopian World Federation now incorporated. Yes. Okay, so now where are we here? Yes, these are some people receiving, some brothers and sisters receiving goods from the collective here, because there's a collective also here in St. Vincent of different Rastafari organizations, including the EABIC, the Nyabingi, the 12 Tribes, the Ethiopian World Federation, the Nyabingi Warriors. So it's quite a few. So the unity is really coming together, and we're not going to go back. We weren't really trading with each other. We're not going back to that. We were sleeping. We're sleeping. Just the other day, flights started between the Caribbean and Africa. Did we have anything on the plane? Did we have any trade going on? No, we got to wake up. We got to change our mindset. Wake up to 2021. Got to wake up. Got to make this happen. And they have our own schools. I'm getting older. I'm 37. Oh man, excuse me, an elder moment, 73. You know, I want a place where I could sit down and it's all Rasta, and you know, they're healthy. I'm not in such too bad shape, but healthy, and I could get a meal and something to burn, and you know, enjoy my days. That's not there now. I don't see that. I see separation and poverty. We have this thing where we like to, I don't know, we have this sufferer style. I'm not really into the sufferer style. My emperor was the best dressed, I think 5 times. So he wasn't no sufferer. Poverty begins in the mind. We can't accept certain things. Certain things we can no longer accept. So like I said, moving forward. Okay, hold it there, hold it, come back a little bit, because here's the next part. So as I said, I found myself here in St. Vincent. Yes, hold it there for a minute. I found myself here in St. Vincent, and now we're going through this devastation, people not having food, water, and in the Rastafari community being in a shelter, there's little or no food for us. So we opened a kitchen here at one of the brothers here, Brother Omar and Brother Jacob's property here in Villa, which is a central place in St. Vincent. So out of that, I've come to meet several sisters on, not necessarily in person, but on the phone, either texting them while we're going through this mission, Jah's mission. So 20, I think it's about 27 or 28 sisters now. We're coming together. And the first thing we asked was, what products did we manufacture ourselves? Because we want to be able to see what we actually make ourselves, bring it up to proper packaging and labeling amongst us, and then get it out to the international market. Because we see that a boat is nothing for a boat to come here comes here all the time from Trinidad, Grenada, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, and so on, Martinique. So why are we not trading at least once a month? A boat could come from one of these places, and our wares and other wares could be on it, and we could be trading. Same thing with Africa. The Caribbean and Africa does not trade. It's just 5 or 6 hours away on the plane, and we're not trading. We don't have respect because we don't really check each other. The mindset has to change. complete mindset. If we as Rasta, if we stand up now, I want all of you to stand up where you're standing. And just take a glance down from your head to your toe. Yes. And look at the clothes you have on and see who you supported today. Where did most of your money go? We wear label shoes, the Timberlands, where they have, the man has his elders hanging our elders, and we wear his shoes. We're the best, we buy the most Timberlands. And I could go on and on. So I'm saying the mindset has to change. We cannot use African fabric. See all the people in the nice dashikis. Yeah, but the fabric was printed in China. Well, how is that an African fabric? So we have to be more observant. The mindset, again, it has to change. The mindset has to change. So yes, you could scroll up now. I'd like them to see those products. Trade and commerce, yes. They could read that. And scroll up. Now, these are some of the products that some of the sisters have posted that they produce. So like I said, we plan to make those products properly labeled and more. I mean, there's all kinds of products that are amongst us already. There's coconut oil, neem oil, avocado oil, nutmeg oil, there's balms, there's soaps, creams, tinctures. We have a hotel owner. We have a supreme marketer and salesperson. So we have a writer, yes, a proposal writer. So we're ready. So we're moving forward with the change of the mindset. So, scroll up now to my flags. Scroll on up, my brother. Let them see those products. That's now how I reach out my challenge. A lot of times on these groups, we chat, we talk a lot. But I would like to propose that we no longer buy the African, the dragon flag that the Asian produces for us. Could you scroll up, brother, and show them the dragon flag that they've been flying? Yes, look at it. Look at this flag. I want you to look at this flag carefully because many of you have this flag in your house or outside flying. I want you to look carefully at what you call a lion that you're flying. Look carefully. Scroll up, brother, and show them the lion, the black lion. Yes, okay. Now that's a lion. That is a lion, not a dragon. We've been flying dragons made by Asians. What does it say when a man accepts a flag from another man, his own flag? So here's my challenge for today. I ask that you say on your Facebook page, your Instagram, your Twitter, whatever, because I don't know all of them. Whatever, I want you to write, I pledge to no longer use the Asian flag. We are currently working on being able to produce the flag in Ghana, Azania, which some of you call South Africa, Azania, and Ethiopia. Those three places will be able to produce our flag. We will no longer buy the Asian flag. So I expect to see on your sites today and share it. I pledge so that when this forum here puts out that there is a flag and where you could get it from and who, you will pledge with your money and your soul and your heart and for real and no talk. So this is time for a new day, a new way. Change our mindset. We have the most resources. Other people take our resources from point A. They buy them from us real cheap. and then they take them to point B, and they refine them, and then they bring them back to point A, and they sell them for 10 or 20 times what they bought them at as point A. We no longer want that. We no longer want that. Africa no longer wants Europe and America's handouts. Don't send any more of those clothes you send from America and Europe. We don't want them in Africa. We have manufacturing plants. Back the manufacturing plants. Let them make the clothes that the people need. We no longer, Africa doesn't need handouts from Europe and America. And we don't need it. We only need for our brothers and sisters to come home with industries and a good heart and a good mind and develop Africa with our brothers and sisters that are there. I thank you today as a humble servant of the Black people of the world. Give thanks, Priest Douggie. Rastafari.
Yes, Empress Ima. Yeah, man, passionate and strong message, you know. I'm on pledge not to fly any more dragon flag in our gates. See?
Rastafari.
Yes, let us buy black. Support our own businesses. Let us build our own economy, our own industries, as the Empress said. And it is good to see Rastafari coming together to support one another in time of crisis. Because most of the time when things happen, we react. It is time to be proactive, to prepare for the inevitable. Crises are always occurring. It's inevitable. Let us prepare for those crises by collectively developing our industries, by putting aside a tenth of our earned income towards, development, maintenance, and support of our communities. So I agree 100%. And this again is nothing new. We are very skilled craft people. Every island has its own little flair, its own little style of craft, seeing. But every island creates some very unique, nice, culturally expressive craft work. We need to organize ourselves into an industry. We need to have accountability. We need to have accountants. We need to have, accountants keeping the books. We need to be doing the thing properly, having our ledger, you understand? Tracking our profit and our loss, you understand? Tracking our raw materials, how much we spend on raw materials, how much how much it costs to produce an item, how much we can make from that item, because we don't want to overprice things like Babylon either and price it out of our people's reach. We want our people to wear our culture, to eat our food, to smoke our herb. So we want to keep it manageable for our people. And only I and I can do that by producing it I and I self, because Babylon is about profits. And they will weigh the market. They will push it to as far as possible to see how much I and I will take, how much I and I will bear. You understand? When you look at the cost of things now through the COVID-19 crisis, everything has gone up. And it's humans that are rising the prices in a time of human crisis. How suicidal is that? So I and I need to look at what is going on around the globe. Look at our circumstance and our position. And don't undermine our ability. We are great people. We were once great and we will be great again, as Marcus Garvey said. See, we just have to work together, be our brothers and our sisters keepers. See, when I think of what happened in Bahamas a couple years ago with the hurricane that sat over Barbuda and destroyed it. Okay, the crisis that hit Puerto Rico and VI, where Rassis and Rassis were the last to be receiving any form of relief because it was being handed out by politicians and, the Babylon administration. I and I need to have I and I own people in place, our own crisis management teams in place to assist I and I own communities. And we can only do that by developing an economic revenue stream. See? So today, man, we're reasoning about the real issues. No matter what problems we face today, you can attach it to economics. You understand? Why we are being down pressed, economics. Why our children not receiving, better schooling, better job opportunities, economics. Why I and I elders are in such a needy condition, economics. See? So a lot of the problems can be alleviated if I and I just focus on the things that we lack, you understand, and shore them up. Spiritually, we are great. We are proficient there. We are professional spiritualists. We can chant, we can call Isis and groundation 21 days, any amount of days. And, we can minister, services at any time. We can culture endlessly, but we can't generate economics to sustain our family. When we look at the youths, the Rasta youths, that born into Rasta families, them have to step out and gone into the world to try and achieve for themselves. If I and I had a developing economic system, if I and I had industries, our children would be able to come and give their skill sets to those industries. We send them to school, most of I and I as Rastafari, we make sure that them don't go through what I and I go through. So we work our, fannies off to make sure that them get the best schooling. And then them have to turn around and give back that knowledge to Babylon, because I and I have nothing in place for them to use their skill sets and be able to see a future, build a future from it. Because I and I youths want to have their own families, pursue their own goals, live their own life. You understand? They need to be able to do that freely. And the only way to do that is to develop our economics, my family. Economics, economics, economics. That is what Marcus Garvey was about. It wasn't about church. And as much as Bobo Ashanti is the priestly order, King Emmanuel was about governance, government, the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. See, we the people above all organizations stand governmental, parliamental, churchical, statical, sabbatical. See, it was about nation building, which a very important part of building a nation is establishing an economic system to sustain that nation. That is what King Emmanuel was about. That is what Bongo Wata was about, trying to rise the Nyabingi house from the dust, from the dungle, to where I and I could self-sustain. See, it's part of the mission, the original mission. We're not deviating. When we talk about a new faculty of overstanding, we're talking about what Mama Ima just said, a different mindset. Waking up from our sleep and our slumber, see, into a different mindset, realizing that in our hands, we have our destiny. See, all the creative genes are in us. That's why the man saying created us in his image and likeness. See, so as the Father, so is the Son. He has created this multiverse that we see. See, this planet that we see that is so perfect for human habitation. See, we also have those creative genes in I and can create for ourselves what we need to sustain our continuity as a people. So let us work together, my family, and build what we need and continue to burn Babylon vanity. That's Daniel. Who else is on the lineup?
I would be next. Ross Brian couldn't make it.
Okay, my lord. The floor is yours, Fill us with sound.
Blessed love, give thanks give thanks for all the good presentations and good word sounds before me. You know, a lot's been said, but you know, I think what I would like to focus on is really the fact that the Rastafari movement kind of has a stigma around certain levels of education and certain levels of business productivity amongst the members. Whereas it's like you get treated differently, you know, or even put into a class as like, you know, different than what's the standard. But really, if we check His Imperial Majesty, you know, he was he was the king of kings, and so that meant that he had to deal with every sector of life. You know, he and Empress Menen. You know, so there's nothing outside of the scope of what it is that I can learn and take on. You know, like I mean, me personally, I make crafts and things like that. I also paint, but all of those things are really just like the only way you can make money is if you're working, you know, and that is limiting because there's only so much time in any day that you can make things, and there's only so much time that you can provide a service. So you have a ceiling, which, you know, depending on what the value of what your product or service is, which your ceiling can be kind of low, you know, in terms of like, you know, we're talking nation building now, you know, like chalices and things like that it's good, it's cultural, but we can't build a nation with, you know, selling chalices and, you know, stuff like that. It's like that cultural folk, you know, people love it. It's valuable. It's great. We all use it, but there's essentials, you know, like that all people use, like toilet paper, underwear, you know, fabric itself, not just like buying t-shirts from companies and printing them, but like, you know, making fabric, all of these different things we have the capacity to do as Africans. We've done it before. We've been sovereign and we've, you know, been self-reliant in the past, but due to our experience in slavery and, you know, Jim Crow and things like this, you know, destroying the Black Wall Streets and all of that stuff, is like now we're in a place where we have to reclaim what is ours and come forward to where we are supposed to be. You know, it's like there's no stone that can be left unturned in our quest for African liberation. You know, like and another thing, you know, freedom, redemption, and repatriation. That's the foremost thing that African people need in order for us to really be economically stable. Like us working in the West is, you know, we have obstacles in our way. One, because we don't have a land base. You know, if we live in the West, we don't own it. You know, so it's like we without land, you know, all of the resources that land provides, such as food, minerals, wood, like lumber, you know, all the things you need for building, etc. Like we don't have access to those things without having to pay for it. Now, when it comes to energy, we don't have access to it without paying somebody, like, you know, somebody who's not one of us for it. You know, like I don't know any in the West, I don't know any African or Black owned power companies that I could get my power from if I wanted to. You know, in our continent, we would have the power to do those things, you know. And, you know, right now we see the Chinese are investing heavily. I mean, of course, along with the Europeans and probably some of the Middle Eastern countries as well, investing in the oil fields, the mines, you know, in the power and all of these things that we have to provide for ourselves, because if they buy it all up, you know, before we even repatriate, then we would be repatriating to the same thing that we're experiencing in the West. The only thing is that we would be on our own continent, which, you know, that's not liberation either, you know. Just reaching Africa is not going to liberate us. And, you know, even so, while we're here in the West or wherever we are, if we're on the continent, as we work towards liberation, of course, we have to we have to educate ourselves and our children, you know. So like, you know, our own, I mean, homeschool or something like. I don't know that we should really work too hard to establish like brick and mortar schools in the West, because we don't want to stay here. And I think that would be us only making ourselves comfortable here. Whereas we could put that same energy into establishing that school in Africa and moving ourselves there. But for right now, we have access to Zoom and other platforms like Zoom and just the internet itself, where we can homeschool, you know, with groups and things like that. So all of these things we can do. But as we prepare to liberate ourselves like fully with, you know, our own continent, our own resources, we can't just limit ourselves to just like the things that we can say produce. We got to think about, like, there's the stock market. A lot of people are making lots and lots of money right now off of cryptocurrency, you know, and that's a way where you don't have to physically do anything. All you have to do is just, you can, even if you just have a phone, if you don't have like a whole computer and everything, you can just download an app, you know, and if you have a bank account, you can connect the bank account to the app like Robinhood or Voyager or Coinbase. Those are just a few, but even Cash App, you can buy Bitcoin, you know, and those things just like, because it's a new thing and it looks like it's going to be something that is lasting, and these different companies that make the different cryptocurrencies are going to be around for a while. It's like, if you invest now, that money is just going to multiply. And, you know, if you leave it in for a few years, then you would see, you know, a lot of return on that. And that's building wealth that you didn't even have to like lift a finger for, really. You know, so we got to think outside of the box, you know, and even to connect with our brothers, and for those of us in the West, to connect with the ones that's on the continent that have like, say like ancestral land and things like that. If we can work together and trade, you know, things like shea butter and coffee and all of these things that, you know, for the most part, especially the coffee, and, you know, Ross Brian Wheeler, he was going to speak. He has a coffee cooperative in Namibia, but that's just one resource. But just in general, those type of things, we can trade it and we wouldn't have to go through a middleman, which, you know, the Black Star Liner, that's what it was really for, is for us to be able to trade amongst Africans wherever we are in the world, so that we don't have to, you know, we don't have to put any money into anybody else's hands in order for us to do business. And even, you know, as far as like cornering markets, you know, where do diamonds come from? Where does most of the gold come from? A lot of the oil comes from. It's coming from Africa. And we are not really, as a people, benefiting the way that we should be from those things. So if we can align with African countries and just internationally create networks, whether it be local networks, regional networks, national networks, international networks, all of these simultaneously, to where, you know, we're organized so that we can put ourselves in proper place to govern ourselves and manage these resources, and manage even our human resources, such as, you know, ourselves, our intellectual property, our children, which, you know, as the priest said, that we, you know, want to send them to college and all of these things. If we send them to college and they have no industry, if we have no industry in place for them as after they graduate, then guess what they're going to do? They're going to be working for the same system that is oppressing us and making all of these obstacles for us. And, you know, our daughters are going to have to deal with, you know, gender bias and things like that. Our sons are going to have to, daughters and sons are going to have to deal with, you know, race discrimination, color discrimination, hairstyle discrimination, all of these different things, you know. So it's up to us, you know, to utilize these different platforms, apps, and, you know, the internet, all of these different tools that we have that we didn't have maybe 10 years ago, to be wise as to how we invest our time and energy. And we need to, you know, as ones have said before on this webinar, that if we work together, even though we're spread out through like WhatsApp and these things, even Facebook, whatever, we can communicate with one another. We can invest together. We can channel our energies to collectively move, do more, be more productive than any one individual could. You know, like even back to the chalices, we and you know, the Honorable Priest Isaac he's going to speak next, but I would like to give him a shout out, a thanks, because he's in the business of selling chalices. I'm in the business of making and selling chalices. He's been sending chalice sales my way that he's been getting through his platform, and I greatly appreciate that. But that's just one aspect of how, if we get rid of the competition and centralize our efforts, then we can do a lot more, you know, because everybody doesn't have to do everything. You know, none of us can do everything, but together, all of us do everything. And, you know, if we have the right government in place, not to say like politics, but government, you know, self-government in place to coordinate these international, you know, branches and organizations and mansions and, you know, whatever, and even individuals, then it's just, I mean, that's really what nation building is all about, because we have the manpower and woman power. We have the intelligence. We even have the resources at our hands. It's just a matter of us putting ourselves in position to utilize these resources the most efficiently and to maximize our own personal potential and to maximize the potential of each other, you know, by empowering each other and strengthening each other and not cutting each other down, not gossiping about each other, not trying to compete with one another, you know. And so, you know, before I close, I would like to even share an idea that I am developing. It's called Nile.com. And the idea is basically a website, a drop shipping website where, you know, drop shipping is basically where like someone would order products from, say, like the Nile.com, and say if your business makes, let's say, jewelry that we saw in Empress Ima's presentation. Say the Empress that made that jewelry created her own store on Nile.com, just like Amazon.com. The person who gets the order would come through Nile.com, and Nile.com would dispatch that order out to the person whose products they are. So that person would just have the responsibility of shipping the product to the customer directly. The money would be sent to that person, etc. And the benefit of this, now, if you can envision all Rastafari and even African people products and services in one place. It's like the benefit now for each business and each seller is that if someone came onto the site and they were looking for a t-shirt, but then they get on there and they just like, you know, when they click on the menu to see all the different departments and the different goods and services that Now.com offers, then they would see that, oh, they also have, you know, say soap, or they have toilet paper, and all of these things are made by African-owned and Rastafari-owned companies. Then they would be able to see, like, even though they didn't come on there looking for toilet paper, they just came for a t-shirt. Now they know a place where they can, you know, find the toilet paper, or they can find the shea butter, or whatever it is. They can find it in bulk, in wholesale, in any type of way that they, you know, it's being sold and that they need, all in one place. You know, that gives each person or each business a wider market just by association, you know. So that would be why it would be beneficial for one to be a part of such a thing, you know, because it would help everybody to, you know, get more exposure, and you know, more people would see everybody's products and everybody's services, because it doesn't necessarily have to just be products. It could be if you're a counselor, or if you are a therapist, or if you are, you know, you do some type of service that you can do online. If you're a tutor, you know, and you can give instruction. All of these different things could be centralized in one website, and, you know, it would just be very easy for someone to find anything that they want. Like, you know, in America, I don't know about other places, but I know for sure in America, like Amazon, if anything I want, I can go and type it in on Amazon, and chances are they're gonna have it. And they even can get it to me really soon. You know, it doesn't take very long because they have like, and this is, you know, further on down the line, but they have warehouses where they have all of these things stored that are close to, you know, in different regions, so that whenever they get an order, that the product may come from China, but because they have a warehouse in the region, they can send it to, say, Minnesota in 2 days or something like that. So, you know, the more we invest into things like this, collective opportunities, is the more we expose ourselves to a wider market, and also the more centralized our efforts can be. And it just makes everything easier for everybody on every end, you know, for the business, for the consumer, and, you know, for our people as a whole, you know. So with that being said, you know, I don't want to take up too much time. You know, I could go on, but I'll leave it there. And I would just encourage everyone who sees this and who's listening, if you're not a part of an organization which is focused on economics, like business wise, you know, start one or join one that already exists, because, you know, the individual thing, it helps us to pay our bills. And, you know, but the short term money is just like a carrot on a string in front of a donkey. You know, you'll never really get to a comfortable place. We as African people will never be liberated if all we do is just pay the bills every month. That's like standard, you know, in today's world, even though we don't really think that that's right necessarily, that we have to work, you know, just to survive and just to live is really not ideal. But that's what it is for now, until we get freedom, redemption, and repatriation, and have our own continent and things like that. And we're at home and we're together. It's like, for now, you know, let's try to align ourselves and create more networks, which is, you know, the topic of the program: access, opportunities, and networks. We have access to, you know, goods, tools, each other, and we have access to the internet and the different apps that are available. And we can create opportunities for ourselves by working together and creating the networks that's possible for us to be sovereign, you know, beyond just like words and niceties of, you know, speaking it. We can create that if we just work together, you know. So with that being said, I would like to give thanks for everybody for your time. And I'll turn it back over to Honorable Priest Douggie, my lord.
Yeah, give thanks, Ras Daniel, you know. Yeah, as a youth, you know, speaking from a youth perspective, you know, he's seeing the lay of the land clearly. You know, like he said, you know, wherein we make craft, chalice, certain things like that. You can't build a nation on just those things. Those are cultural artifacts. We need industry. We can create an industry with those things, you know, but we need industry. We have to become bigger in our outlook, as I Majesty cautioned I and I. You know, we have to think outside the box. You know, we have to be more proactive in how we look at economics. For one thing, land is real wealth. Land does not depreciate. Okay, land will be here long after I and I. You know, humans go, humans come, but the land remains. You know, so if you know, own land and you are able to pass on land from generation to generation, that is maintaining wealth and passing on legacy. See, we were miseducated in the past to give up land, you know, whether it is in Africa, in the diaspora, wherever, where our grandfathers and grandmothers left those legacies for I and I. We sold them for pennies to run to the cities because we want to become the new DJ or the new soccer player or the new whatever. We want to become something that Babylon has encouraged us to pursue. When right off the bat, the land that Grandpa passed on to I and I is ready cash, is ready resource right there. You know, look at what you have on the land. Use the resources that exist. You know, if you have a spring on the land, you're wealthy, because the new world war, as the scientists say, is not going to be over the black gold or the green gold. It's going to be over the transparent gold, which is water, clean, usable water. And that is fastly disappearing because we are overdeveloping the world and we are damming up the tributaries. We're polluting the rivers and the oceans and all of the water sources. Seeing the rainwater, years back we were talking about acid rain because of the pollution that went up, it come down. Seeing, so we have to look at tangibles, you know, that we already possess, and utilize those tangibles. And land is one of the greatest resources. See, it's out of land you get diamond, it's out of land you get gold and silver. It's out of land you get all the mineral wealth. You understand? So land is very important. So we have to start to think outside of the box, people. You know. So I give thanks for that presentation from, you know, a younger brethren, Ras Daniel, you know, speaking from, you know, his perspective, you know, as a youth. Remember, this techno age is their age. They are the masters of this techno. My little son at 3-4 years of age was able to utilize my phone and do things with it that I couldn't even dream of. Seeing, is it my youths them come and program my computer for me and do certain things for me, because, you know, it was not my era. I can navigate myself, but the tricks in the trade, they know them very easily because it's their era. See? So let us work together, the youths and the elders. Just same call upon the youth because they are strong, and call upon the elders because the elders know the way. You combine the youth and the elders together and you have an unstoppable force. That force now, put numbers to that force, and it becomes a force to be reckoned with. See, that is what we need to build. Collective energy. Have a collective approach to our development. It is great to succeed individually, but it is greater when you can put that individual success to a collective benefit. See, so I give thanks. Like Ras Daniel had said, our next presenter, who is our final presenter at this time, some of our previously confirmed presenters have had emergencies, you know, uncontrollable circumstances pop up, and they are unable to fulfill their commitment. But we will continue, you know, and reason. And this presenter that is coming up will fill your head with knowledge, with information, you know. Priest Isaac is one of the social media influencers. You know, he does online schooling classes. You know, he's a Scientologist. He knows a lot. He has a vast scope of knowledge. So without ado, I would ask Priest Isaac to take the mic.
Yes, my family, blessed love to each and every one. Is a joy. Thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life, Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie Jah, Rastafari. And let me just say, Brother Daniel, I wouldn't be doing any screen sharing again, as I previously kind of mentioned. Well, again, it's a joy to be in the midst of each and every one. And I would just like to make a quick announcement as such before I go into the midst of what I want to go into. Today, the angle I'm going to take it from really is more on a personal level. I know we're speaking a lot of unity, and of course, that is very important. But when it comes to economics, there's so many different aspects of it, trust me. And but we'll just go into it in the 15 minutes that we have here. But as I said, prior to that, I just want to make this announcement. And I recently, family, did a video that was somewhat uncomfortable to some within our community. Now, I can say that I honestly did that video, I think, with a genuine heart, in defense of something that really touched me in the first place. But I never expected it to reach to a specific point. Now I have taken down that specific video. I will re-edit it and put it back because it has a lot of value within it. And I am humbly just asking, because some of those who were offended were even my elders. So I'm humbly just asking those who may have been touched, if you want to say the wrong way, to please and pardon myself for such. This is not something I want to act as if I'm defending myself with. I really know where I stand on what I presented, and I will leave it at that. But it's all about unity, and even lives are at stake here. So within love and Rastafari is just salamta and peace, and I think the train moves on. Now, what I want to do today, you're going to have to somewhat interact with me a bit, because I said we're going to be talking about self-evolution and foundation building of empire. Now, this interaction is just at the beginning, really. I want everyone to do something with me. You're going to have to roll up your sleeves, eh? So you're going to show me your hand. Well, you don't have to show me. You don't have to put on your camera. Definitely don't put on your mic because we're going to all get confused. Now, when you look at your hand, you see this line here? Scientifically, I cannot tell you the name, but we all have it here where you can bend your wrist. Now, that line, obviously, both hands or both wrists would have it. Now, what I want you to do, this is serious, eh? And it's the economy we're talking about. I would like you to align them together. So make sure that they're lined up with each other and clasp your hands with them being aligned. Follow me good, eh? So that means when you clasp your hands now, one of your hands might be longer than the other, or they may be the same. Well, whether they're longer or they're the same, what you're going to do, you're going to take the shorter one. So if they're the same, just take one. If one is shorter, even if it's by an inch or half an inch, take the shorter one. So this would be my shorter one. So I'm going to take this hand, which they call the left hand, we call it the vertical hand. Now, what we're going to do here, this is very serious. I want you to concentrate on the hand, and you are going to make the hand grow. Some of you may have seen me done this before. Maybe you never took part. I want you to take part now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell the hand to grow. But I'm not just going to say hand grow for me. I'm going to continually repeat with feeling. You have to put feeling to it and address the hand. You got to look at the hand, you know, put your energy in the hand, be serious with the hand as if you're disciplining your child, and let the hand understand. We don't have no time to play here. This is time for you to grow. So when I say grow, you're going to repeat after me and say grow. I don't have to hear you. I know you're saying it. Don't unmute your mic. So when I say grow, you're going to say grow. As we're going to put it, you know, energy, you know, grow. I said you must grow. Listen, hand, this is not the time to play with me. Grow. Listen, look at all these people in front of us. I said to grow. Put in your accent, boy, you hear me say, grow. You see me? Grow. This is important. You need to grow, get bigger, and grow. Hand, grow. All right, that might be enough. You think that's enough, my lord? Okay. So what you're going to do now, you take the same technique we did before, and you align the areas, the two lines, put them together. Take your timer and clasp your hand. Wow, that got long. I'm telling you. And yeah, yours got long too. And my son with me here. And I mean, I am positive that there's anyone in the audience that did that. You would have noticed that your hand, even if it's a half an inch, would have moved and grew. Now, some would say, well, maybe it didn't really grow. It was some sort of, you know, optical illusion. Hey, listen, even if it was an optical illusion, whatever it was, smoke and mirrors, I don't know. The point is, you put your mind to work and you told your hand, you know, remember this is not X-Man and stretch, big man stretching his hands, you know, you're a human being, your bones, your ligaments, your muscles, they're in a specific space. And you use your mind and you look at your hand within a 2-minute space and allowed it to move even if it's for a half an inch. Now, what I'm saying there is that during this presentation today, a few people spoke about Sister Ima, and let me say, everyone's presentation was top-notch to me. You know what I mean? Give thanks, Sister Ima, for such a spiritual presentation, or spirited. Well, spiritual too, but spirited was the word I was really looking for first. Presentation, you know, the fullness thereof. I don't want to go down the line, my good brethren, IJahStar. Yeah, no, don't take it the wrong way, my lord. They're very pretty, eh? Yeah, just glow up the whole scene when you came on. You look like a little child there, you know, and the information just came out smooth, and give thanks for all those, you know, Brother Daniel and everyone in the midst of us. Now, what I'm saying is that we were talking about what? The power of thought, you know, the way that we think, you know, this is where we need to go. Yes, we need to come together. And we're not taking away nothing, you know, because we're all coming together with different points. We need to come together. We need to pool our resources together. Yes, but before we pool our resources together, we ourselves personally need to check our inner selves and build our resources as well, so we have something to pool together. As Brother Daniel says, we are already on the food, clothes, shelter, and the paying bills thing. We can't get away from that. Don't feel happy like if you can do that. Give thanks you could do that. The point is you're supposed to be able to do that for you and at least 10 other people. I mean, at least 10 other people. So this is why now we have to think about the power of thought again. What you conceive, you can achieve. You can write it down if you have to. What you conceive, you can achieve. Thoughts become things. I'm going to say that again. Thoughts become things. So it's the mind frame. It's how you have yourself. It's what you see for your future, what you see about your own self. So this is why now we promote a lot of affirmations. Some people say affirmations don't work, and they're correct. They don't work. What they just did, they affirmed in their self that affirmations don't work. So it ain't gonna work because you just said it as it's not gonna work. But if you say it's gonna work, it will work. You understand? So what's an affirmation? That's when you affirm within yourself your qualities. So this is something, as one of the brethren said, we do an international homeschool class. At the end of every homeschool class, we have a specific affirmation that we make the young ones say. What's the affirmation? I am the best, and I deserve the best, and only the best is coming to me now. Now you say that every day. You know, you can say it even in your spare time, just repeating it to yourself. It's not ego, you know. Remember, we are the ones that say we are all gods and Selassie dwell in us now. And well, if Selassie dwell in you now, and Selassie is the best, you're supposed to see yourself as the best. I am the best and I deserve the best. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. Again, don't get egotistic with it. You know, you don't have to push it on nobody. You know, I'm only acting so because we're here together. You know, but this is my own private business. But we're just sharing the love. But within myself, I would look in the mirror and tell myself that I am the best and I deserve the best. And only the best is coming to me now. So that is something that's naturally within Rastafari. You know, as the Honorable Priest Douggie is here, Honorable Priest Douggie could tell you, even as Bobo Shanti, even if a man having a so-called bad day and you say, my Lord, how is it? The man will tell you, my Lord, blessed, everything is well, do give thanks for life. That come before, and then you might say, hey, listen, I have a little problem here. Nothing wrong to speak about your problems, but you cannot identify yourself with your problem. What's identifying? I am, that's what the name of God is. He said, he told Moses, I am. So when you tell somebody, I am mad, you are mad. There is some mad, you see. Remember, we, as Rastafari, we're the ones that took the language and started to, you know, turn it around. Understand became overstand. A coming back became a coming forward, because we knew that there was powers in the words. So we know, those of us, because we're the one that started that process, you know, the breaking down the etymology of the words now. It's Rasta start that, and now you see people doing a thing, but it's we start that. I start that. Huh? So the fact that we know that means that we have to be careful of how we speak about things. You understand? So you overstand. So in other words, now you would notice when you speak to someone and they give you a bad story. Again, how are you? Boy, things bad, you know, me try fine. You see, the moment you start to speak like that, you notice you bend down, you lean up, because you are putting a weak energy within yourself. But the moment you say, man, everything is good, it's never been better. Right now, I'm ready to conquer. It just encourages you to big up your chest. So this is why now the point I'm making in all of this, remember, we just made our hand grow. The point I'm making in all of this is that we're supposed to think big. Big, big, big. You're thinking about the next car you want to buy? What about the next jet plane? Boy, Ras, that too big. What mean that too big? You know how much money it costs to keep that on the airport? Why? Well, build an airport then. We need to think big. No disrespect, you know. But even within the construct of like the meeting we're having today, you know, when I read the headline there at the bottom, it said, headline at the bottom, but it said, with emphasis on small and medium-sized businesses. No, we have the power of thought. We shouldn't emphasize on small and medium-sized business. We have to think big, big business, billionaire brackets. Remember now, we are talking about freedom, redemption, and international repatriation. We're not talking about cooking a pot. So millions can't do that, honorable family. Millions cannot do that in any currency you call. Millions cannot do that. Billions. And don't tell me I'm overdoing, because I have people on the planet that have billions. So what's wrong with us? There are people that have private jets. So what's wrong with us? I mean, if you think having a private jet is off the chain, well, you shouldn't have a car there. To me, you shouldn't even wear shoes. Straight up. You understand? So we're supposed to be thinking triple X in a sense, although we kind of born X, you know, but you know what I mean? The triple R, if you want to put it like that, you know. And as I mentioned, that's still, you know, again, give thanks to the elders, because one of the things the Honorable King Emmanuel teach us is that real self-reliance, you know, my heart leaped when I saw Sister Ima present the whole thing of the flag and mystically all the banners you see bubble fly, you know. And this is not no thing about the flag and who have different flag, you know. What I'm saying is Bobo make their own flag. Is I sew our flags and paint the flags now. All the pretty Bobo flags you see, is I personally make them. So give thanks. We can't fall away from what the elders have already taught us. Now let me look to kind of quickly get this, you know, to the point and seal up here. Now, one of the things I really want to highlight too is that our goals now, remember we undermine, our goals should be, you know, should be clear. You know, I personally, every morning, I mean, I can show you, this ain't even every morning, well, this is a new book, but every rising in the morning, we wake up and we just write what we're supposed to do for the day. And when it's done, we just tick it off. It should just be a natural thing that you have the list of things that you need to do for the day and click them off when you have to do them, because, or when it's done, because that will keep you, you know, account, give you an account of what you're doing. So you should have, of course, the goals for the day. You should have weekly goals. You should have a goal for the end of the year, and you should have an ultimate goal. And to me, one of the aspects of the ultimate goal should be financial freedom. I'm going to repeat, remember, collectively, we're supposed to be building a nation. Our nation is government with ministries, educational structure, as the prophet was saying there about building mortar and brick in Africa. Education system, health system, our ministry, theological ministry. You know, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. We are supposed to be able to take acres of land, build a gated community, and literally govern ourselves in it, just like some of these little countries, like the kingdom near in the middle of Azania. Swaziland?
Swaziland.
Yeah, it's like Swaziland is like a little country inside of a big country. We supposed to kind of niche out a country and build an empire that will just, mesmerize the whole world because Rastafari making money. Now, remember now, this is another thing. This is deep because economy is not just money and buying and selling. We are living in a world where it's an economic war as well. If you're really going into this, you have to understand the banking system. You have to understand the origin of the banking system. You have to know that the bank, there's no bank that's your friend, eh? Trust me. Well, not as it, maybe you know a black bank that I don't know of that is really working with us. Maybe I should be careful how I say that. But we know in general, the banking system, is not our friend. It's from the banks of Africa, the banks of the River Nile, where civilization began. That's where they get the term bank. But when you put your money in the bank, man, what really happens is that's why when you put 20,000 and you go back for 10, they tell you, you can only get 5, come back for the other 5 in the next 2 months. How that happened? Because your money has gone into investing, somebody else make another bank. That's what it is. So we have to think of financial freedom, not cash, but cash flow. What's also important too, I think an individual personally, you have to check the people that you are around. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You can't run away from it. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And you can only fly as high as the people around you can think. That's very important. So if you're seeking knowledge, you have to be around the people that have knowledge. If you're the most knowledgeable in your crew, nothing wrong with that, but you need a new crew. You need a crew where you are at the bottom of the crew. So those above you will help you climb up. So again, if you're a millionaire, join the billionaire crew now. Be amongst them and climb up and get there. I'm very serious, You see, this is the mind frame. I know I'm talking and there are people that are afraid because they're afraid money. I'm sure some of you have done a business and when you have seen the business ready to blow up, maybe it blew up and you have already harnessed it and that's good. But I'm sure you could remember just before you saw the fruits ready to ripe, there was a feeling inside of you of maybe fear, because of what you are accustomed to, Let me show you a next example, quick. Which one I should show you? Fold your arms. Fold your arms. Okay, no, I'm sure you just naturally folded your arms. Now, if you notice, when you fold your arms, one arm is over the other arm. You could fold it 2 ways, You could fold it however you folded it, or you could do it the other way. Now, if you were to just try the other way, it's easy to do, but you will feel a bit uncomfortable because all the years you're accustomed to fold your arms, bam, and you just did it. Do it the other way now. Okay, you can do it, but I've done that to people and you can see them trying to fix it in. The point I'm making is that we are afraid of change. Trust me, believe me, we are afraid of change. So when we see change coming, sometimes we get a little scared. And so, no, we have to get over that. So we need goals. We need to set our goals. And your goal should be bigger than you can even reach. What are you talking about? If you want to hit an arrow, we call it a bullseye, archer, you can't aim at the bullseye and let go the arrow. You're going to drop below. You have to aim higher than the target. So the gravity and whatever will bring the arrow to the point. So you're supposed to be able to say, hey, listen, I'm supposed to be able to make $2,000 a day. Again, somebody around you're gonna say, boy, think your thing too big. $2,000 a day. That's thinking. What's wrong with you? What kind of nation you can move on $2,000 a day? So again, this is why I'm saying we have to think big. One last thing here now. Couple things, but in the interest of time. Yeah, a couple things. So if you have a business, remember promotion is very important. Promotion. You could have the best product in the world. The best product in the world, but if nobody know about it, people does become, people say, boy, praise yourself too much. A business bubble. I love that title. Every bubble should be a business bubble. We ain't begging, it's not we begging nobody, nothing. I like to tell people that we don't beg, we don't even ask for donations. We have books, we have several ebooks, we have videos, we have online classes that we do, webinar, we have homeschool classes that we do. What else we do? As my Lord said, we ship out chalices. We work with the Honorable King, networking with the chalice internationally too. What else we sell, Princess? We have a couple of things. I got a little things. We have an international nightly radio program that we have, or we do international hikes. We have our summer solstice coming up in June. Man, there's no time to play around. You're supposed to fill yourself with things to do. That's what the Empress said. Make sure you do enough things. Do as much things as you can. I'm paraphrasing. I don't have it exactly. I'm not one of them man that can kick the Empress speech word for word. But I know the Empress say, do as much things that you can do. Can I have a man for everything? Do as much things as you can do so that you'll be sure that you do as much as you can. That's basically what he's saying, and I'm encouraging everyone to do that. The last thing, I think it's very easy for us to formulate a $1 a week program. That's something I've spoken of before. Very easy, especially in this time with Cash App and Zelle and these little things where you can actually send somebody $1. I mean, we need to start to trust each other, man. I mean, it's so bad we be. That we can't get that here. That's like, oh, who go hold the money? And this man, boy, that man does do this. Oh boy, up to now, man. We supposed to, if you have 500 of us, Rastafari internationally, number one, we need to have a plan and know that this is what the money is going to be used for. And once we have that plan and we start to put $1 a week, just $1, no, not $2, no $5. We're not trying to overdo. We know that every human being, even a beggar, supposed to can give you $1 a week. So what's $1 a week amongst 500 people? That's $2,000 a month. In a year, you have $24,000. You don't have to touch it. This is not box or susu. Nobody getting back nothing. We make it go and accumulate. And then with 24 times 3, say you give it 3 years, 4, 8, 12, that's what, $72. That's how you go, $72,000. Then now, then we go to the plan we had. The plan may have been creating factories or whatever, and we give employment to those of us who need employment internationally. Now I'm talking very fast because I know I'm sealing up, but I think if we can coordinate something like that internationally amongst Rastafari, you don't have to worry about Bobo Bingi or nothing, man. We can work together with that. We can create a system, as you say, the intelligent ones amongst us formulate a plan that will a $75,000 plan, and within 3 years, 500 of us, $1 a week, we can do that. I don't know what excuse we have from that one day. Give thanks, life give and the keep of life. Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari.
All right. Yes, Kingston, give thanks for that very inspired presentation. Yeah, them can hear and see, he's a teacher, so I need to be good students and learn from the teacher, because he has made very good points, inspiring I to think big. His Majesty said the same thing. We have to be broader in our outlook, become, members of a new race of thinkers. We have to think big. You understand? So I endorse that 100%, my brother. You see, because we've been thinking too small. The man said, set your goals high, so you keep reaching. Even if you don't reach it, as the brethren say, even if you can't attain it because it's so high, but it keep you reaching. So every day you keep stretching, you keep excelling, you keep rising. You understand? You keep growing. So make I set goals. And I say repatriation. Repatriation is moving a mass set of people from one location to another. International repatriation. To do that, it takes Caesar, it takes money, it takes funds. You understand? Let I think big how we can do it. Marcus show you, he bought ships, Black Star Line. During the time when Marcus did that, that was an impossibility for a black man do, Have high water ship on ocean, we can carry goods and people back and forth and create trade, build a bridge between the east and the west. That is thinking big. That is big money. You understand? Because now we don't have to pay Amazon to bring with thing. We Black Star Line can bring with thing. You understand? So I use the Black Star Line now instead of Amazon. So we get with shea butter from Ghana. You understand? We get with brocade from Gambia. we get a goal or whatever from South Africa and other places. Whatever your thing is, you know, your need is, your what them call it, your fancy, you know, you can get it straight by providing the means for I and I self. So I endorse that again, 100%. We have to think big. Marcus gave a grandnephew, Ras Charlie Prescott. He made a speech some time ago, and that one sound resonated with I for many years. That I and I as a people have become used to mediocrity. Sure, let's make it go through. Yeah. It's all right. No, we want the highest of standard. We can create the highest of standard. We deserve the highest of standard. We have to stop begging for crumbs. We need to build the bakery and own the bakery. So we don't have to beg for no crumbs. See, we need to own the big farms. When you look all on the island in Jamaica right now, most of the farming is being done by Israeli and foreigners. You pass out some place and you say, wow, nice, seeing them grow this and that, and it look well organized. But it's not I and I. Because we not think big. We run left a piece of land, the 20 acre where grandpa left way, because we never think big. We never say that 20 acre could have make we have 50 acre. And we could have imply 50 people instead of them having to leave the township to go to Kingston to go work for some big corporation where profiting from I and I skill sets and not spend back nothing in our place. Like Shell and Texaco and them company there. We just come in your place and take out and profit and then leave it as a shell. I and I need to provide the services that I and I community need. See? So make we think big. Think positive. So this is a time now for questions and answers. We're opening up the floor, you know. So anyone have any question, you can either put up your hand.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I did raise my, but the question I wanted is really from, I wanted to just post something quickly to Empress Ima Ethiopia. If not her, because I see she around the brethren and sisters there. What I was meditating, you know, a few years ago, there was this documentary, it's still on the YouTube and so too. I saw it first on a DVD with the Honorable Ralph Gonzalez of St. Vincent, where he went to Ethiopia with some of the brethren. And I know there were certain diplomatic arrangements that were made, you know, between Ethiopia and St. Vincent. I never really followed up on it. I really don't know. I'm a novice even what really was going on. But I was wondering, what's the state with that now? Because as the sister said, the volcano is a blessing to some way, you know. We have to find out what a blessing really is, because it's Jah talking. And then there may be some case for, I don't know how St. Vincent stands, as I said, you know, with repatriation and exactly what connection Ethiopia has with St. Vincent, if the sister might know or anyone around her would know. If a person say, listen, man, I almost like refugee status here. Like for example, they reached to that status. Like people had to leave there, people that left there coming here. Would they be able to freely go to Ethiopia then? I guess that's what I'm asking in a nutshell.
Yeah, I know of the video and I know of the chat too. You know, Ralph is a person that I have always respected. He studied at the UWI in Jamaica, so we kind of know him. He was around when Walton, when grounding with the bridge in them, and when Rastafari was rising up big on the campus. So that's why Ralph kind of carry a different vibe.
And you know, you chip up that one.
Need to mute them phone. Yeah, so I was saying, no, I don't know where that diplomatic agreement has gone, if we have followed up on it, because that is a problem that we have to. We don't follow up on things and we don't, you know, concretize opportunities. Because when that door was open, It was a different administration that was running Ethiopia at the time. But if we had walked through that door could not close again because there would be precedents. So I don't know if we have set the precedents where ones have been traveling back and forth without visa, because that was one of the deal, without visa and them thing there. And how close a relationship the two countries have maintained. See? But regardless, I need to open up those kind of relationship with the continent. We need to be more interactive with the AU, showing them what we can bring to the table. Because, while we are chanting for repatriation, the world set up in our way right now where our government now got just open up them country for taking one bag of people that coming with baggage and do have nothing to offer. See, unless it's a very rich country that can absorb that. So I need to show the continent, show the countries of the continent what I is bringing to the continent. What is our skill sets? What do we have to offer? How will we enhance their position? See, that's why repatriation again is a process. It was asked years ago by an Ethiopian sister asked I, why is it? Because she said she met I elders in Shasha, but she don't understand why is it that we are sending home the elders and not sending home our skilled persons ahead of the elders to create the infrastructure that the elders need to be comfortable, which is a reality. Yes, it is airy for an elder to go home and to live out his dream, knowing that Africa is where my chant for all him life. But with every elder that is going home, we should have youths going with them. So the youths can do the strenuous lifting while the elders showing the cunning and wise way in which to lift. We need to open up these dialogues, starting to build the bridges. We need to send our skilled personnel to shore up certain projects that being done on the ground, that the country can say, well, this is what them bring. Them help us to build the dam in Ethiopia, or them help us to build the power plant in Niger, or like a place like Niger that suffer from famine all the while. We can go there with our scientific knowledge, and show them how to plant, grow, preserve for famine time, things like that. But we need to start to think bigger and broader in our thought process, a new outlook. We've been making poverty dictate how we function and how we think. We've been thinking poor, and from your think poor, you're affirming and pushing yourself into that position. Let's just affirm our original position. We gave civilization to the world. We created the Sphinx and the pyramids and so many things. Let us get back to that space. See, put on our Ethiopian spectacle and stop looking through our Eurocentric glasses. See, let us think back before slavery and see how creative we were, why empires like Mali, Shanghai, and those empires, why they flourished. Casablanca, all those great empires, places like Tunisia before it was Tunisia. How did Carthage and those places become what they were in the day? Temples of Luxor, where the brilliant minds studied, and could chart the stars and, navigate the oceans and stuff like that. We need to get back to them heights there and stop thinking just about the penny and the change, because it takes dollars to feed our community. It takes dollars to provide the health care and the nurturing that our elders who have sacrificed their lives for this struggle need and deserve, and a lot of time we have failed them because many of our elders have struggled hard in their golden years and have not been able to enjoy them the way they should. See? So we give thanks. The floor is open. questions. Whether to the panelists or just in general.
Yes, my lord. Someone had commented in the chat here and left a link for a brethren from the EWF in Addis Ababa who makes the banners, you know, I guess with the green up. That brother's name is Ras Ijastar.
Yeah, man, Ras Ijastar, my brethren, yeah.
Okay, and his email is ambroser.king@gmail.com. You know, so if one's wanted to reach out, you could contact him and, you know, get a banner that way.
Yeah, Ras Ijastar, long-standing. He has repatriated many years now on the continent. Speaks fluent Amharic, and you know, very very hardworking on the ground here in Ethiopia. So give thanks to hear from him, and that he knows that we are discussing our father's business.
To the chair.
Freedom.
Yes, yes. On that flag, Tagasa was our Ethiopian connection, and we have one for South Africa, which is Sean Harris. So we're now working on the Ghana. So once we have all three, we will put out the package and the prices, because Ras Tagasas will be like a special edition. Okay, so
give thanks. So we're doing it, you know, little by little, incrementally. We are doing it. We just need to step up the pace right now, because you know, time waits on no one, and as we see, you know, inflation constantly rising, you know, and it's above our head at this time. So we need to climb over it right now, and the only way to do that is to think big, organize ourselves, create industries, you know, purchase land, set up businesses.
Lawrence Davis has his hand raised.
Yeah, man, free him up.
Through the chair. Blessings, everyone. I'm late to your meeting, but apologies. But I could hear the goodness of opportunities of when we gather amongst ourselves and take seriously our collective responsibility to build our community and to make the world what we need and what we want, and becoming and both economically and politically astute to take responsibility in that way, to offer ourselves up to the community in which we are part of, to become, you know, our ideas putting it to the forefront, not just saying it and walking away, but now action oriented, put ourselves up front to say that we have something to offer, and what we are offering, we are ready now to lead it, not just throw it out and run away, leave it. ITAL food and run away, leave it. We're now going to brand it and provide ITAL food in all packaging. And you know, we gotta utilize the technology of Amazon and these things to get it on your doorstep. The food that we eat as Ras, we know it's good food for all people. So therefore, we need to package it and get it out on the doorstep of everyone. If one's baked the soap, one make the flag, whatever it is, we lend our support. We got to put it on the front, and that's the world that we want, and that's the community that we want to live in. Now we live all over the world, and we are scattered in this way, but modern technology allows us to come together, like the Zoom thing, bring us all together. So I'm appreciative of all of us awakening in that way. With the so-called I'm in New York with the legalization of cannabis. The door is now open for us who's been the abused, the murdered, the blood, the imprisoned, who now have the opportunity to now get ourselves, stake out our position, and to become the best at it. Since we've been doing it under the table and just barely existing, now we need to become the masters of this industry. So I'm looking forward to that, for that reinvestment, and the lessening of the disturbance of our family, taking away one's father, one's mother, and away from their children for years at a time. So, but we can't just talk about it. We have to be about it. We have to work as a collective to put our resources together. If one don't have the strength to go to get in there, we have to both advocate government to be able to let us in, because I think New York State is going to give away 50% of its license for those of us who have been bombarded by that essence. They're abused by the so-called illegality of cannabis. They got to give away 50% of the license, but none of that matters if we're not ready to take advantage of it. And if New York go this way, everything in America eventually will come around towards that, and the world, because even Jamaica, I was born in Jamaica, and as such, Jamaica should have been the first place on this planet that legalized it, but they had no scrotum. And having no scrotum make you a beggar. And they could not stand up properly. And because they did not stand up properly.
Yeah, I have a question, my lord.
I would love to address this as well when in order.
Good, thanks.
Yeah, Omari Sankofa had his hand raised. Brother Omari, if you could unmute your mic. If you have a question,
I give thanks. Yes,
straightforward.
I just wanted to address, I represent our Ganja Society here in Toronto, and what we are doing. I mean, I heard what you said, brother, about Jamaica. And to be fair to ones in Jamaica, if it was up to many of I and I in Jamaica, we would have definitely had some sovereignty and autonomy around ganja. What is in place is the tyranny and tyrannical system that even when you seek to gather ones and ones to do what needs to be done, there are systemic things that were presenting blockages in that journey. And there is also smoke screens. So agencies set up that were supposed to address the needs of I&I, and it never did, because it wasn't really there for that purpose. What we are doing here, the approach we're taking is to move away from the idea of licensing with the federal government, which is a corporate government, which doesn't serve us in any way, it doesn't serve any of our sovereignty, and find ways in which to exercise our sovereignty as indigenous people, as Rastafari. What we've done up here quite recently is to create partnerships with First Nation communities here in Canada, and we've reached out to some in the States as well. And what we're doing is creating an ecosystem that will allow us to practice our sovereignty and our indigeneity on indigenous land. And I feel that that's a direction that many of I can take in this time where we're looking for sovereignty around ganja and our indigenous medicines, not just ganja alone, but our indigenous medicine. Because they'll say, fine, you can use it for sacrament, but the problem that the system has is with the commerce, us being able to commerce and not paying any taxes towards a dirty queen. So we need to have our things in order, and to be able to find ways, and Adam can contact on same way at omar@organja.org. I'll leave it in the chat. And there are ways that we can access this and to be able to practice our sovereignty. Yeah, I give thanks.
Yes, greetings.
Yeah, give thanks, Virgin. One thing before I speak, my Virgin. One quick thing. To be realistic too, while the island of Jamaica declared in 2015 the legalization of ganja, their hands have been tied by the first convention treaty and the International Narcotics Board that works out of Geneva. We are bound by their treaty laws, and we have to be jumping through hoops to try and get around them and work with them where it is impossible to get around, as well as America playing the hypocritical role of their states legalizing it, but they are putting unreasonable demands on islands like Jamaica to hold back Jamaica from being able to develop their industry on a level. Now, the sacramental right that has been given to Rastafari, when it was declared, I myself, I am part of the Cannabis technical team committee there on the island. Okay, and I had a reasoning with the Minister of Justice when it was declared, Mark Golden. And Mark said to I and I that they cannot define the perimeters of sacrament for I and I. I and I need to define it for I and I self. That was the gray area that he opened for I and I, like Empress Ima said, to make a declaration. But again, our disunity, and we have to put the blame weight there. You know, some of the blame have a drop on weight, and it's drop on I and I, because I and I disunity has caused I and I to be left out of many things. You know, when opportunity arise and you are prepared, that's a formula for success. And that opportunity showed itself, and we were not ready to embrace it. I have tried to organize the growers in the western part of the island that is called the Ganja Corridor from Hanover to Manchester. I've had several meetings with many of the growers, most Rastafari, and tried to educate them on the rights that they have when it comes to the sacrament. You understand? Because religious right is a constitutional right in America and globally. And it falls under that right. You know, they cannot lock that or take away that right from I and I again. But as I say, it is for I and I to define the perimeters. And we have wise enough brethren that can sit together, especially legal minds like Ras Miguel Lawn and Empress Marina Blake and Marcus Garf and many others legal minds in the Caribbean, that Casate from Dominica, bridging from Trinidad, many legal minds that can sit together and help to legally define the perimeters of that sacramental right. But we have not attempted none of those things. We waiting on Jesus to come solve all the problem, or we're waiting for manna to fall from the sky, or whatever it is, fairy godmother or whatever. But that opportunity was there and still is there. It just takes I and I to throw away the cowardice and embrace our courage and step into that arena and make the declaration. We're not begging, we're not applying for nothing, because we're not putting no application for nothing, because it's I and I is ganja. See, we are declaring, but most of I and I don't have that courage. So out of this new faculty of overstanding, that is what we want to see. We want to see ones embrace them power and make them voices be heard and their numbers counted. See? So opportunities like the medical ganja industry and the sacramental industry, we can have control over some of it and make what is, what is due to I and I. See? Give thanks. My brethren, freedom.
Right. Yes, I. Yeah, I'm on being heard?
Yes, I.
Yes, I. After listening to most of the presentations, I come away with that is a need, a vital need among I and I, especially as somebody involved in finance, have a reasonable amount of training in it, to tell you that we need to organize a Rastafari credit union, because everything basically from what I'm hearing is the idea based on cooperative overstanding, the whole question of coming together so we could have a strong base, even from some of the things we retained coming from Africa, in terms of Padna and Susu and Guyap and all these different things, in terms of how we come together to build houses in the Caribbean, where there's Grenada and Guyana, and those, people find methods of how we come together and we form economic strength. Somebody building a house, people come together, 5, 6 people on a Sunday, and they people prepare food and smoke and drink and that kind of stuff, and in 2 the roof is up, and plumbing is done, you know. So in a month time, every Sunday or so, people take that time in the community to put that effort in. You have a, you know, so you have what you call cooperative or collective economics. So I think it's important that ones find a way, especially those of us who have certain experiences and training, to set up a Rastafari credit union. I know there's a Black Star Line cooperative in Guyana, which I'm part of, but we need a Rastafari cooperative, and that is basically going to look at how, you know, we could pool our resources using methods such as, you know, that we learned and we brought from Africa, such as Gaia Partners and Susu. And also, I wanted to make a point of, in relation to the holy herb, cannabis. It's very vital that we really look at our realities when we look at the Caribbean more so, and that we don't end up back as slaves based on cannabis. Why I make this point is the fact that I know for a fact that the Caribbean will be used as a place where it would produce some of the best cannabis crops. And the whole idea of the grading system, which will probably be put into operation to obtain grades from different farmers across the different countries in the different Caribbean regions. And at the end, people will have to go through some kind of vetting process by these government agencies. And we have to be very careful that at the end, we sell our labor for next to nothing, because of the government has to make money off of this process as well. So we have to be very, very careful that cannabis don't be the crop that going to march us back to the plantation in a different kind of way, because we already, at this point in time, we still slaves in some form or the other. We just probably call it industrial slavery and economic slavery, because at this point in time, we still have a problem, most of us, even as Rastafari people, with serving the land. We serve it, you know, because I think we have been scarred in such a way, even from the generation, although we are how many generations or hundreds of years past from 1865, we still have that strong psyche in our psyche where we are scared of the land and work in the land, and how we could even use economic and scientific methods currently used to increase our yield on the land. So one of the things, you know, as you know, is always pointed out, land is a vital a vital means, because without land, nothing. You know, we need land to produce, because although we verse in culture, but we need to be versed in agriculture, because the one who feeds you controls you. So if we don't realize that and learn the aspects of how to feed ourselves, which is a crucial factor, and as Daniel pointed out, the importance of the land, and that land is something that, you know, when you buy anything, most of it at the time it depreciates before it even you buy a car, Lamborghini, before you leave out the car, the place of
the parking lot.
You know, the parking lot, it depreciates. So we you know, with land always appreciates. So we must be mindful of that. So I will look at the whole idea of even in terms of cannabis, we need to set up cooperatives and credit unions to assist, and so we could pool resources and be able to make things work. And this is money outside of the system. This is money outside of the system that they can't, you know, if 10 businessmen pool together $1,000 a week for 10 months, that is 10 by 4, 40,000 by 10. That's like 400, close to at least 400,000 thereabout in circulation that the government don't know anything about. So these are some of the avenues, whether we want to register these credit unions and in any forms or as the case might be legally, which we should. But in terms of partners and susu and stuff like that, that is a lot of money that we could circulate among groups of people in Rastafari people in a certain vicinity who doing business together and who have that trust, because trust is a crucial thing, as Priest Douggie pointed out. We lack trust, but we love the idea of in God we trust, and we love the idea of coming and trusting from our brethren, our sister who doing business. So more love, more life, and we're here to serve. Give thanks.
Yes, Rastiko, give thanks to that song. Serious talk. And I must revert forward to something that Priest Isaac said. $1 a week. $1 a week by a group of ones over a period of time, how much money that can quantify. We're not talking about, putting any burden on any individual or family. $1 a week. And we can do so much with that $1 a week when it accumulates into that pot over a period of time. The same way you'd go look at a loan where you have to pay interest on at the bank. We now have that seed money that we didn't have to go pay interest on, that we can now invest into an endeavor, a project, and turn that money over, and build on that money. We have to start to think this thing through in a practical way. And since we have been hampered or burdened with the yoke of poverty, and we are looking to break that yoke, using a simple formula, like Priest Isaac said, $1 a week. If we even start there, brethren and sisters, we can build, and leave some form of legacy. Leave the thing better than we come get it for the next generation. Again, as Ras Seko reiterated, land, my people, land. Even if we live in Africa, we can still own land in Jamaica or wherever we come from. We have to start think big. We can live in Africa and own land and own businesses, other places like all them other people do. So we don't limit ourselves, because we have been limited by the system already and limited by society, and limited by Babylon. What we are declaring is freedom. We want to liberate I and I self, not limit I and I self. Liberate economically. That will help us to be to be spiritually liberated as well, because you can't tell a hungry man about God. You have to feed him. That's why the Bible story, the allegory of the Christ upon the mount, feeding the multitude. Him first had to feed the multitude before them would listen to him. So let us look at this thing from a realistic point of view. Questions as we're winding down. Questions. Any more questions? Any more declarations? Any more ideas?
I did want to say something if the floor is open. I was just, listening, even with like the $1 a month, $1 a week plan, it's like, what I've been hearing is that like, instead of putting money in savings and just letting it sit there, these dollars a week can be invested. So that dollar turns into $3, $5, $7, $10, without you doing anything, and you're still adding money to it. So it's just like, if you can be wise about how we use it, there's short-term investments that can turn around quickly, so that money can even grow in the meantime, So just to be creative, I guess, is really what I'm saying. Instead of just using old methods, we can incorporate the old ways, but also do things that's more efficient, to maximize our productivity. Give thanks.
That's right. And when it comes to the ganja business, remember now, we're in a few places have legalized recreation. It is really medical ganja, medical cannabis that is legal worldwide. Now, what makes it medical? Science, science-based products. Seen? Now, that is one of the areas that I have been trying to educate ones on. I am involved with a team of doctors, Rastafari as well, who have taken that approach. We are trying to get the science behind the products that we are trying to produce, starting from the plant itself, identifying what plants have the greatest medical benefits, have the properties that can treat the ailments that we have identified. For instance, cancer. What strains have cancer inhibitors within them. We have to start to think big, as the brethren say. We have to get, our team of scientists behind our venture, so we, as Rastafari, can have strains, branded products that have science behind them. This now carves out a piece of the industry that cannot be denied, because people that are suffering from certain diseases, they are looking for products that work, proven efficacy. So if we have products, tinctures, salves, whatever it is, topicals, whatever it is, oils, compounds that have that proven efficacy, then they are the products that the people are going to be taking off the shelf, versus the million that's out there right now with no medical science behind it. People just producing because they're trying to make money. They're trying to make, the whole focus of the cannabis industry is about money at this point. It's not really about the medical science of it. And the medical science of it is what is going to give you the longevity. See, when the bubble bursts, when the novelty effect wear off, and it is bursting, because we're seeing a lot of the big companies going belly up. A lot of the big companies that rushed into Jamaica in 2015 and 2016 have now run broke and pull out. See, it is only those that are doing the research and development that are still there, because they have been able to access funds from different areas to continue their research, because they are having proven efficacy behind their products. See, just wanted to interject that. Question?
Ras Ijastar has his hand raised. Honorable Prophet, if you want to go through.
Yes, honorable family. Blessed love and give thanks again, for everyone that is here and participating and sharing information that will help us progress, as a people. Regarding the whole ganja issue, we have to be very careful at the same time, in how we approach this, because over the years, we have been persecuted, and because of the persecution, what that have done, it have withheld us from, doing certain things or developing ourselves, just like how we see in America and in Europe, how you have these scientists extracting certain properties from the plant and putting it out there on the market. I think because of, you know, the persecution that have stopped us as Rasta people over the years from, you know, developing ourselves to, you know, that we could reach to the standard of producing CBD oil and, you know, all the different properties that we see now out there on the market. Why we have to be careful? We have to be very careful because is two things out there at the moment. See, you have the ganja that is, which is the normal product. See, and you have the cannabis, which is described now as medical marijuana. Now, why we have to be careful is because these two plants are grown differently. See, and one is grown naturally and one is grown artificially. See, and so I guess that's where the science now comes into it, where the artificial growing, which is the greenhouse growing, that is growing now with a lot of chemicals, Zin, and that is what is out there on the market, in the dispensaries and all these different places. Now, I've been to Jamaica a few years ago, probably about 2 years ago, and I can remember going on different corners to get some ganja, and the ganja them I come across wasn't the normal ganja that I am used to and accustomed to. You know, being in Jamaica, I was getting ganja that I see in Europe, in England. And I was wondering what is happening here, because Jamaica is a hot place where you do not need any form of greenhouse growing. You can grow whatever plant you're growing naturally in the natural sunlight. You do not need this artificial lighting and greenhouse thing. And we don't want to get into that. And I can see that that is what is happening in Jamaica right now, that the realness, the original way of growing, Zine, because these things that is being growing now in Jamaica, they're not even normal plant, they're not even normal seeds, they are genetically modified seeds. So over the years that we have been being persecuted, a certain set of people had the time and advantage to do as much research into the plant, to even engraft the plant and genetically modify it, clone it, and bring it to something different, something artificial. So, you know, we have to be really careful in how we approach this and how we look to get ourselves in the market, because if licenses are required and it is certain bodies or entities have these licenses, then we're going to have to submit to their policies, Zane, and how them grow things and how what the product's supposed to be and what's supposed to in the product and all of these things. So we have to be careful, you know what I mean? Even though it's an opportunity, we still have to be careful. As I said earlier in the presentation, there are clauses that, you know, might come with these opportunity, and they're not aligned with our, you know, lifestyle and our liberty. So, my Lord and Empress, give thanks again.
My Lord. Lawrence Davis, hand raised if you want to unmute yourself. Lawrence Davis, and say what you have.
Give thanks. I just wanted to respond to the genetically modification of the herb. Actually, it is an opportunity. They can do what they want to do, but we now use the take the opportunity to say this is our brand. We brand ourselves. Jamaica have a unique herb, historical herb. We have to go back to that ancient thing and brand that as our advantage. And whatever other strains that we have that's organic to the local environment, whether it be in other islands and or on the continent itself, we brand those as unique and make that and bring that to market and make that rise to the top and let them do what they want to do. Give thanks, Jay.
Yeah, what he's talking about is the landrace strains, them. You know, the cultivars that are original. Jamaica have their own landrace strains like lamb's bread and what we used to call goat shit and thyme. Those herbs were original herbs that grow in the environment of Jamaica. Now, what make it indigenous? If you take a seed from Colorado, or you take a seed from Afghanistan and you bring to the Caribbean and you grow it in the Caribbean. Now, the way the nature of this plant is, it has to be acclimatized to the region. See, it has to grow the mechanism that it needs to survive within that geography. Okay. Now, when you introduced, like in Jamaica, a lot of the ganja that was introduced into Jamaica was from the Senegalese and the Hindus that came to Jamaica as indentured servants during the colonial and slavery era. Now, those strains became indigenous to Jamaica because after 1, 2, 3, 5 generations, they are totally acclimatized to the land, the atmosphere, the pollen, everything of Jamaica. So it becomes unique to Jamaica, just the same way it would become unique to St. Vincent or any other Caribbean island if grown in the same manner. See, those indigenous landrace strains are the ones that are disappearing. And what the Virgin IJahStar is talking about when he said he went on different corners and realized that what he was getting is what he got in England and other places in first world countries, is because, again, just like how they tricked us into giving up our land, we are being conned. At one of the Cannabis Ganja Festival held in Montego Bay, which is one of the larger ganja festivals in the Caribbean, they had presenters from all over the world, Israel and all over the world, these people that own big ganja companies. Now, there was a panel with some Canadians that own some massive companies. And one of the things that this CEO of that company said is that he's been coming to Jamaica for over 25 years and been smoking some of the best ganja in the world, even though he has one of the largest ganja companies in the world. He's giving credit to Jamaica for growing some of the best ganja in the world. So his thing to I and I is that, why are you now accepting these foreign ways and foreign seeds and foreign methods when you have done what you have done great for so many decades, so many years? I and I have grown ganja under the most adverse conditions, in some places where people would say nothing can grow. But we grew ganja there because we had to be hiding from the authorities. See? So we mastered that aspect of development. We are able to grow ganja in some conditions where most people couldn't even tolerate. And we grow the best of ganja in those conditions. So now, if we continue using that method, just enhance it with more knowledge that we have today, we would have a perfected art. But like he said, he sees I and I falling for, we want to grow Gorilla Glue, we want to grow the Girl Scout cookie and the gelato and all of these things. See? Yes, I have seen those same strains grow better in Jamaica than I see growing in California and Colorado. But they are not indigenous strains to Jamaica. And to grow them like that, we have to grow them under them same conditions that the birds talk about in these enclosed environment, which will lock it off from nature. And we are subsidizing nature now with artificial lights and different things. See? So yes, there is certain, it's not even so much of a caution and a beware vibe. It's just for I and I to maintain our traditional practice and enhance it with greater knowledge. See? Dr. Emmanuel at the UWI in Jamaica, he has started a seed bank, and he was fortunate. He searched Jamaica and couldn't find any landrace strains, no lamb's bread or anything he couldn't find any straight lamb's bread. Everything was hybridized, crossed with a different strain, cross, creating other strains. He went to the mountains of Dominica among some elder Rastafari, where he found the original lamb's bread still existing, because those brethren have been creating their own seeds year to year and not buying seeds from outside. See, and so he was able to find certain landrace strains there. Well, what I and I need to do is to create I and I seed bank and start preserving I and I land race cultivars. See, those have the best medical properties within them. So, there's science behind this thing that a lot of I and I don't comprehend, a lot of ones don't understand. So we need our scientists to get involved with the ganja growers so we can perfect the art. Give thanks. Floor free.
Yeah, yes. Give thanks, brother. I just wanted to say that, just to add to some of what you were saying there about strains, I've been able to locate a lamb's bread strain, but it is crossed with skunk, as you were just saying, as a hybrid. But skunk is another. I know you're very knowledgeable about the strains. I was able to pick in some of the strains we were mentioning, but here in Canada, just to corroborate what you're saying, these people have been going to Jamaica for 40 plus years and collecting seeds. And I was able to locate some lamb's bread cross with skunk. There's an outfit in Quebec, here in Canada, that found a strain in Jamaica, and you may be aware of it, named Lionheart. And that measured, for those of you who know nominal or average percentages of CBD, that even 2% and 3% is very high, considered to be very high CBD in a plant. And they were able to locate a strain in Jamaica, from Jamaica, supposedly coming from actually the eastern part of Jamaica, up in Blue Mountain area. And it was measuring out at 12% CBD. But what they've done over the years is exactly that. They've gone around, they even have a outfit named Strain Hunters, who was going and still go all around the world and collect seeds, and they bring them back and preserve those strains for themselves. So just to corroborate what I is saying, it's so important, and as our ganja society, we've been pushing that ones keep their strains, their seeds, and we need a place to actually house them with professional people who know how to take care of them and to be able to keep the strains. Yeah.
Yes, and that is what Rastafari, these are the areas in which we need to be focused, creating our seed bank. That we don't have to go to them for no seed. Because Monsantos and all of them, they are infiltrating the whole agriculture and turning it into whatever else they want to turn it into. See, now agro has gone down to science, where it is a scientific process now, not just a culture anymore. See, so these are areas in which we have to keep ourselves abreast and informed, so we know the do's and the don'ts. It's not just to accept the new technology and the new way, but to know these new technology and new way and know if we want them or not, because not everything new is good and not everything old is bad. See, so we need to measure that and be able to pick consciously, using history, the knowledge of history and science, as our measure. See it. And anytime we are able to do that, anytime we have the professionals that are Rastafari. A Rastafari is different from just a dreadlock or anyone else. When I say Rastafari, I mean a conscious Rastaman, a conscious person, see, who, if he's conscious, he's gonna look at things consciously. So when he's involved in the, say, the ganja industry, he's looking at it consciously. He's not just accepting, yo, grow this and that and use this and that and it will grow better. Because I've heard even Rasta brethren of mine telling me about nutrients that I should feed my plants with that are synthetic. And I assure him, so no, you see, through a medical I deal with. If they them want to do that with a recreation thing, that is up to the item, but it's medical I deal with. So I keep my thing organic. I compost and I create my super soil from natural elements. See, and that is where the basis of growing even your cultivars come into play. If you cannot control the pH of your water, pH of your soil, create your super soil, see, no matter what you do, you have to go use their thing. And if you're growing their seeds, you have to use their what they suggest, or your seeds not going to grow properly. They're not even going to germinate properly. See? So there's a whole, like I said, there's a whole science to this thing. I've been privileged, and I'm just one of the races that I see really involved in this aspect of it, to be part of the Cannabis Technical Committee, working with the Bureau of Standards in Jamaica, the Ministry of Health, and the Ministry of Industry. So I man kind of get privy to certain information that is there. And right now, we need more Rastafari to get involved, into the science of the thing. We're not talking about getting involved in their structure of business or corporate structure or whatever. No, to learn more about the plant, learn how best we can maintain the organic nature of the plant, and not fall prey to using a lot of these hybrid seeds, whole heap of fancy name, effeminized seeds, all of these, like you said, for a seed to be effeminized, it had to be genetically modified. So these are things that we have to learn. The Father said, give us all things bearing seed. And if a thing now bear seed, then how you will continue the growth of it. It dies without having seed to replant. So having seed in your plant is not something bad, It's being able to grow it now. Grow the best product is what is important, even if it having seed. Because growing up, we used to have a thing what we call Iley. What would be considered today bush herb. But them herb the back then, when you burn all your chalice, brethren, the meds with them herb they give you. You now get them meds out of them herb. Today you're getting a high. And I don't want a high. And I want a meds, because that's what I use the sacrament for its spiritual and medical benefit. And to get that, it has to have a full spectrum of nature in it. It cannot be modified. You cannot choose to take out something that Jah put in there. So along that lines, my brethren, I totally agree. And we need to share information and educate one another, so we can all be on the same page, so we can make conscious decisions no matter where we are, and we can collaborate no matter where we're there, because technology, as the item say, has made that easier today. So they are in Canada sharing your knowledge right now, and I'm on there in Florida sharing my knowledge. This is a great thing. This is a great feat that we are overcoming. This is a great opportunity that we have. 100. And again, hemp is different from ganja. Hemp, industrial hemp, is what them used to call wacky weed. It grows with a lot of stems and biomass. It is more for biomass, what they call today biomass. It is good for extraction. It's good for industrialization, like making, cloth and fabric and like back in the day they made sea sails, boat sails with it and rope with it and them things there. That is what industrial hemp is good for. Now, ganja that they have turned into cannabis today is what is the medical plant that has the medicine in it. See? So these knowledge we need to share and know so we know what we're doing.
Yes, I. The time is upon us. We got to wrap up. The conversation is kind of going into cannabis, and I think that's a webinar in itself. Because there's so many dimensions of it, and it's very important. But I would just like to, kind of wrap up and just let everyone know that the conversation can continue. There is a African Rastafari New Faculty of Overstanding Facebook page, which has a reasoning group, and all of these conversations and information can be shared there to, to continue it and not just let it be done now, but otherwise, in 2 more strongs on Sunday, May 16th, we'll be hosting another webinar entitled Rastafari Culture and Heritage, Protection, Promotion, and Preservation. Be on the lookout for details as far as, who the presenters and panelists will be, and, more information as far as like the time and all of that stuff. But I don't know, Honorable Priest Douggie, if you have anything else you wanted to say, or if you want to seal it up with any good words, then, now is the time that we seal up Rastafari.
Yeah, man, give thanks. Like Priest Isaac said, let I think big, think broader in our outlook. Let I rebuild trust amongst ourselves. Let us revalue each other and not undervalue each other. Let us identify the aspects of our life that needs to be corrected so I can function more efficiently and effectively, if we are on this work of nation building. And this conversation, this platform has started the discourse. The discourse cannot end with this platform. We have to link up. Ones that are on these webinars that are participating in any form, we need to share information, have each other's link, that we can link up with each other and work together, share information, pursue ventures together, make money together, build infrastructure together, so we can fulfill our creed. Age protected, infant cared for, sick nourished. Seeing? I man give thanks, and I give thanks to everyone who has taken time out of their busy lives to spend several hours with I unpacking this issue of economics. Look forward to more reasoning, to collaboration, to unity and solidarity through the love of our father and mother, Emperor Haile Selassie I and Empress Ima Ethiopia. I greet you and give thanks. Blessings and love to all.
Rastafari.
Rastafari.
Can I get a link for the